Festus Tigers in the end zone at an 8-play, 43-yard drive. Essien Smith, a 3-yard touchdown run for his 8th of the season. He had 64 carries for 535 yards coming in. And he takes it the final 3 for the chrome-helmeted Festus Tigers tonight. Trying to get to 7-1 before their regular season finale. Boy, do they have a tall order. Next week, they go to the pit in Jackson. Onside kick and a great hop. It's touched by a Tiger, and then 2 Tigers have it. And Festus with Jackson Frank. He was not the first guy to touch it. Boy, that's as perfect as you can run an onside kick. You get the nice high hop. It went off a hand of a Tiger and then right into the waiting arms of Jackson Frank and a teammate. I'm not sure a black-clad Knight ever touched it.
No, that was a beautiful kick. I mean, so years ago, Farmington, I think 3 years ago, they outlawed the drive kick. That was a beautiful, I think it was Bridget went up, one-handed, almost looked like he was going up for a one-hand grab, Odell Beckham style, that knocked it into his teammate's hands.
And so Festus will keep the offense and Essien Smith on the field.
Perfect onside kick to boot, and now
Camden Yates, now the tailback behind him.
for the Festus Tigers. The running back in is Camden.
Smith can be dynamic. Wide receiver screen out in the flat, a tough catch, but a good one by Yates. Tries to hop through a couple of defenders, and 4 Knights wrestle him to the ground after a minimal gain. It's one of those offenses for Festus. Get the ball in the hands of your playmakers, and they've got some up the middle on the ground. Obviously, we gave you the numbers. They traditionally, and I'm talking about as a program, maybe not in 2024, but over the years and over the last 2 decades, here's a little wide receiver end around, and it's Jeremy Davis-Mays that took that one. They've had a receiver or 2 that has really been dynamic over the years.
Well, I think they've also, to complement that, they keep having stellar defensive players that make their job a little easier on the offensive side.
Yates on the toss on the option, and he makes the 35 on what was 3rd and 7.
5-yard line. He's going to be about a yard and a half short. Coach Farley's been aggressive this whole first quarter.
Second straight series that starts on the Knights side of the midfield stripe. Yates off. Mason Shermer comes in. He's rushed for 120 yards on the year on 21 carries. He's got 5 touchdowns. He's kind of the bruiser. And on 4th and short, he gets the call, tries to make a little sidestep move, and he's really fortunate to get the first down. Well, you get that guy moving east and west. That's where you want him.
That's a big body. I mean, that guy's a big body coming in. Your starting middle linebacker comes in a short yardage situation. I mean, it's one of those you assume he's going to get the ball, but if they pull off of it, he's a great read key for a fake.
Essien Smith takes the snap. Yates again, and to the 30 on first down.
Guys, on that previous possession, Corbin Phillips went down for Farmington. It's the lower right ankle down very low, and on the inside, they're trying to tape over the shoe to see if he can get back in. He's walked up and down the sideline twice, has not yet put full weight on the foot. So I'm saying his return is very iffy.
Smith, he's got all kinds of real estate to the right side, and nobody defensively in front of Aiden Clifton, who takes it into the end zone. Essien Smith got rid of it, and Clifton had nothing but green turf in front of him. 13-0 Tigers.
Well, I think something that set that up is the last time we saw him line up at that wingback position, they ran the power off the quarterback. He was the actual wrap guy into the B gap opposite side. This time he gave an inside fake, and outside he went.
Point after, work to do, and now trying to get rid of it. Wacker tries a left-handed throw. It's going to be caught, but maybe by a lineman. Flags come in for that reason, and the point after is going to go awry.
That's not legal in anything.
5 plays to go 44 yards in 2 minutes and 8 seconds on drive 2. And Festus leads 13-0 after the point after is no good. And so now the Knights, so you talked about it the pregame, Mike, if they do get in a position where they've got to throw the football, all right, 3:11 to go, quarter 1 is not do or die. I get it. But they're down 13-0. They've touched the football on offense once, ran 7 plays and fumbled. Can't let the hole get too deep.
they are in a spot where they need to put the ball in the air a little bit. It doesn't have to be all out. Every play's a pass play. But there's two reasons for that. Number one, you're down 2 scores already. And number two, you've shown that when you've thrown the ball, you've had your most success so far. So I think a few more balls in the air are warranted here. We'll see if that's indeed what they do. But one thing that's important for Farmington, regardless, is they got to flip the field a little bit. Everything's been played on their end of the field so far in this one. It's been a rough start, and we'll see plenty of football to be played. But Festus playing from in front with this defense they have, they'll take that every day of the week.
Up until last week with DeSmet giving up 42. They've given up 47 total points in the first 6 weeks combined. It's an incredible number. Nobody rolled up more than 14 against them until DeSmet came to town, took care of that. But this is an opponent that Festus is familiar with. They're used to playing. They do it almost every year. This time they'll kick it to Fripp downfield. He'll take it at the 5 and get outside the 15 to around the 17-yard line. So while Festus has had great field position, the Knights have been at their own 20 and now about the 18-yard line.
I think, as Mike alluded to, having to throw, I think they're going to have to take a little pressure off because Brett Dry, both throws, he's been outside the pocket, which to me says that the offensive line knows they're bringing pressure, so you're trying to get him out. So don't be surprised if maybe either a little fast screen or some type of screen game to the inside may be up Farmington's sleeve.
I'll give you a question about that after the first down play. Dry orchestrates the offense on the option, and Festus is all over it. Off the toss, Liam O'Brien was waiting for the running back to turn upfield and blew that play up. I'm watching a lot of conversations at the higher levels, college and pro, and there's so much discussion about wanting to get the quarterback out. So let him roll out, get him outside the pocket, let him decide. Is that not what Farmington would be wanting to do to be successful?
You can. I mean, this is going back to the system that when we implemented the spread offense here, this is what we call our rodeo lasso. It's get outside protection so you have longer routes. He has more time. Right now, though, it may be because you know you're going to have a little bit of pressure.
Dry again on the option, going right side to McCarthy this time. He's got the corner, and he's got some speed and some room. He takes it across the 35-yard line. And the first real big chunk play for Farmington to the Knights has it 1st and 10 at the 40, make it 35. Check the yard line marker, 35.
And I think to finish that up, it helps Brett have time to see what he wants to go to, knowing that he doesn't have a defensive lineman or a linebacker blitzing into his face. So yes, keep rolling him out, but it's also going to be keep pressure off of his back.
Brett Dry, 46 of 82 for 553 yards, 7 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. Those are season numbers. Man in motion for Farmington. He'll get the call. It's Connor Rice, and he'll lose 4. Boy, it is just swarming defense up front, and this is Festus Tiger football. Get guys off the line of scrimmage and meet you in the backfield.
And that's one thing you can do. I mean, if you're Festus, you're playing a man coverage where you get to bring 1 or 2 extra guys. You get to blitz your linebackers on this package. But if you're going to do that, when McCarthy got free, he gave what they call an orbit motion where it looked like he was coming strong side, went back to the weak side, and they over-pursued.
McCarthy in motion. Dry's going to keep it tossed to Rice. McCarthy's a blocker, and Rice got tripped up. Otherwise, a big game. Antonio Pinkston got him by a shoelace and a spike and able to take him to the turf. And he's back to the original line of scrimmage, though. If he gets out of that tackle, it's a big pickup. Instead, makes it 3rd and 10.
Line of scrimmage, so that brings up 3rd and a long 10 for the Knights. They need a first down. They don't need.
And so Farmington trailing 13-0. 40 seconds and counting first quarter. Dry with a single tailback and 4 wide in the formation. Back to pass. Decent protection out in the flat. Wanted Rice incomplete. Jake, how much easier is it for a defense? And I know Farmington is in a spot here down 13-0, but when you're playing an opponent that really the bread and butter is keep it on the ground, how much easier is it when they become, albeit they've got, tricks in the bag, it's going to be a primary ground-oriented game rather than, hey, we got to stand back and cover all this real estate and look for wide receivers and all this stuff, to just kind of set everybody in the box and say, if you're going to run, we're going to be here waiting for you.
I mean, it gives you a lot of self-confidence, especially when you have guys covering all three phases of the game, of the triple option like they are. So, yeah, it's a lot easier to pin your ears back and play football.
Knights will kick it away. It's taken by David Russell, and he gets to the 35, so the worst field position of the night for the Festus Tigers, and they'll have to run one play before the final 20 seconds rolls off this first quarter clock. Mike, what do you got?
I'll tell you something, guys. One thing I've been real impressed with watching Festus at field level, their guys up front are incredibly athletic. A lot of times you watch teams that the guys up front, they're big, they're strong, they fill the holes, they fill the gaps. Okay, these guys move well. They laterally move well. And from doing an entire season of games so far at field level, not all teams have that kind of athleticism along the line. I've been impressed with that.
20 seconds to go in the first, just across the 35-yard line. Parkland Sports Live, bringing you high school football coverage all season. Next week, we'll stay with the Knights. They'll be in Park Hills. Corey Schweiss and the Central Rebels awaiting their arrival. Central tonight, that big matchup against a team that leads their district in Dexter. Another good chunk play for Leonte Williams and the Tigers on first down that'll take it to the end of the quarter. 14 plays on offense run for Festus in the first quarter, 12 for Farmington. Tigers might want to try to get one more, but the clock will run out. But the Tigers get all the points that have gone on the board in quarter number 1. 13 of them to be exact. It was a rushing touchdown for Essien Smith, and then he found Aiden Clifton in the end zone, and it's 13-zip. Festus at the end of 1 on Parkland Sports Live.
The Department of Mental Health for the state of Missouri is seeking an advanced practice nurse to fill a position on their East-Southeast Regional Forensics mobile team. This position includes daytime travel, a flexible work schedule with remote work options available, at a salary of $130,000 annually, and tremendous benefits. This opening will not last long. To apply for the advanced practice nurse position or any other with the Department of Mental Health, please call 573-218-6800 or go to dmh.mo.gov. The state of Missouri is an equal opportunity employer. We celebrate diversity and are committed to creating an inclusive environment for all employees.
Coverage of high school football brought to you by BetterHelp.com/TheBarn. Nuvo Athletic representative Tia Cunningham. The Catfish Kettle, world famous, all you can eat right here in Farmington. Kim Hudson Realty. Log on to Kim Hudson Homes, KimHudsonHomes.com. Spokes Pub and Grill for rolling good times just down the road here in Farmington. Ryan Blankenship Insurance Agency. RBIBrokerage.com and Matt Stroud Excavating. Call 756-2808. Flip the field. Festus, first play of offense to start quarter 2. What was 2nd and 2. And they'll mark him down pretty much right at the marker and say move him. A fresh set of downs for the Tigers coming up. Boy, it's a lot like what Farmington saw at Jackson, with everything being so hurry up, get to the line. Even if they don't snap it right away, it keeps you honest on defense, and here they do snap it. So the handoff to Leonte Williams, and he's a yard shy of the 50. How much more difficult does that make it to play on defense when you got an offense that does this?
It makes it tough because before we can even finish our conversation, the next play is already in, and if you're Eric Krupe, you've got to be able to judge what they are in formation and get your play call in.
Farmington with a man on the left far side of the formation. Moved and wide open. Smith over the middle. And nobody is around the Festus Tiger receiver. It's Clifton again to take it to the house. Busted coverage, and that's maybe because of that rushed communication. Clifton could have landed an airplane in the runway that he had to take it all the way to the end zone. 11:09 to go in the half, and it's all Tigers, 19-0. Wow.
Clifton has had the easiest 2 touchdowns of the season.
Blacker, good on the PAT, and Festus has come into Hale Memorial Stadium and laid it on the Farmington Knights here in the opening quarter plus. They don't throw it a ton, but tonight Essien Smith has 2 through the air. Give him one more on the ground, and it's Festus 20, Farmington rock on Parkland Sports Live.
Matt Stroud Excavating and Hauling has the equipment and know-how to get that job done right. They dig basements, ponds, lakes, roads, and clearings and haul in the rock. Check out Matt Stroud Excavating and Hauling's commercial work at Domino's in Farmington and Fredericktown and Leadbelt Motorsports. Call Matt Stroud Excavating and Hauling today at 701-3258. That's 701-3258.
4 plays, 65 yards in a minute 11. And Essien Smith, Aiden Clifton with his first 2 receiving touchdowns of the year. He had 3 catches for 42 yards on the season. His touchdowns tonight have added up to 82. 20-0, Farmington. They've got a ton of work to do now, and a good return would help. Corey Fripp's got the corner, and he's got Wacker to beat. He's also got a man down the middle trying to chase. Wacker is going to wrestle him to the outside, and maybe horse collar or face mask. You're going to add 15 more to that, so Farmington's going to have it likely 1st and 10 at the 15. Well, that can give you some momentum back on your side if you're Farmington, because nothing has gone right up until that point.
Well, Greg, you referenced at one point the comparison to going down to Jackson. The big difference, although, yes, Festus does run the fast offense, Farmington had answers all night. So you had a shootout. Farmington's got to start having some answers. Then that kickoff return can mean an awful lot if you get the ball in the end zone now and kind of get your momentum going. That could be a big play.
Well, if you don't get it in the end zone, you've blown a golden opportunity. It's like having runners at 2nd and 3rd with nobody out and don't score. Farmington's going to get it at the opposition's 16.
Those Farmington Knights.
That has to result in the touchdown, right?
You would think so. If not, I mean, this could be pretty detrimental to the rest of the ball game for your young club here. Get a little confidence, punch this one in.
Dry, again, the option. Doesn't know what to do with it. Somehow stuck away from one man, trying to get to the corner, and all the way inside the 5. Finally hauled out of bounds by Liam O'Brien.
I was just going to say, Glenn.
And it all hinged on Dry getting that corner. Once he got the corner, he was in pretty good shape.
The question was he going to get the corner?
Right.
Because his pitch man was also turning into another deterrent to get around, and then he had a whole swarm of Tigers chasing him. Great explosion, though, to get around a corner for a 12, 13-yard pickup that looked like it was going nowhere.
Brett Dry, 777 yards coming into tonight on the ground. The leading rusher for Farmington. He's got 10 touchdowns. He's out of the gun. He's going to go straight ahead on the handoff and get it maybe down to the 3 on what was 1st and goal. Well, it is polar opposites, at least as far as speed with which the offenses operate. Festus, everything is hurry up, get it to the line, here we go, run one play, okay, get it to the line, hurry up, here we go. Farmington, it's play. So what's you doing for dinner tonight? We're going to stand around and talk about, we got a call play. Let's do that first, then we'll talk dinner. Then we're going to run a play.
Ball-controlled offense.
Trying a toss, Rice trying to get away from 3 guys and smash to the ground at the 5. Well, you try to get to the edge on Festus, you better have some guys up front do their job to block. That is a tall order tonight against a stout defense, and all of a sudden it's 3rd and goal from the 5.
And that was tough because that defensive line, those linebackers that were blitzing inside, they ran the defensive line very well. Rice went to spin back in, and he found 2 Tiger helmets right in his chest plate.
And Zoner split wide left. Jack Embry to the bottom of your screen. Dry looking Embry's way. Still looking. Throws it over the middle. Boy, it almost intercepted. He threw it right at the leading defender for Festus, Mason Shermer. Almost had his 2nd interception. It hit him in the hands. He wasn't quite expecting it, obviously. And now it's 4th down.
He went into the end zone, and I think they were looking for him, but the defense had a hold of his jersey down there. So
you're down 20. It's still relatively, in the grand scheme of things, early. Festus did miss an extra point.
I don't disagree with this. You know, fourth and goal from the 5. I mean, you're down 20-0. This could be the little bit of air and breath you need in your system if you score, but they fumble it.
And they fumble on a high snap. Knights jump on it, but it doesn't matter. They lose yardage, and the Tigers keep Farmington off the board and out of the end zone and get it at their own 11.
Everybody on the Farmington sideline, what's the worst possible thing that could happen on that play? That was probably it right there. I mean, the only thing worse could have been a fumble, I guess, but either way, they're going to give up the ball. And Festus is going to get it on the 10-yard line.
Fellas, based on the teams I've seen this year and watched from this level, the speed of the defense from that Festus has is certainly at a different level. And I'm talking about all over the line and on the edges as well. It's easy to understand why they're not giving up much to the majority of teams on the schedule.
And it makes you want to go see DeSmet, doesn't it? I mean, a team that really handled this defense. Essie and Smith on a give straight ahead, and Farmington right there to wrap up.
Well, I'll tell you this. I watched the film against DeSmet with Festus, and it was like watching a college team. So if you want to talk about a size comparison and athletes on and off the field, if you think that this offensive line or these guys from Festus look big, they look micro compared to what DeSmet had.
And now Festus waiting for the play to come in from the sideline. Single setback alongside Essie and Smith. They'll give to him, and boy, they've just run it between the tackles. Camden Yates got the call there. And they've found good real estate between the tackles. They found better real estate between the tackles downfield when the receiver's Aiden Clifton.
So I got to get that one sent in. But
3rd and 6. 20 zip, second quarter. 8:07 and counting. And all kinds of hieroglyphics coming in from the Festus sideline. They got about 5 coaches.
Signs, of course.
Looks like they're doing the YMCA down there.
Cardboard that coaches used to have, and now they
Here's the third down play. Pretty good contain, but Smith got run into. Great pressure by Farmington. And they're able to wrap him up.
Kelly got there.
It looked like it was the converted tight end and Isaac Owens that got around the edge and did a great job keeping contained.
Some decent field position here, walking back to about the 41-yard line.
And so now, I mean, you're not going to get field position like you had it last time at the 16-yard line, but
27, that is.
they should get it even off the catch off the punt inside the 50, and no question after a wobbler that bounces at the 36 and pretty much stays right there. So Farmington's second straight time with rock-solid field position, but they were kept out of the end zone last time when they went for it on 4th down, and it was a botched snap. We'll see what happens this time with 7:12 to go in the half. We'll talk with head coach Eric Krupe going into the half and get his thoughts on how things have gone. Currently, his answer would be not very well, but
If they get this good field position and go down,
they're going to have to find a way to try to solve this Festus defense.
they probably would have the second good field position. So they really need to do something here.
A defense that has led to 8 sacks, 3 interceptions on the year. Quarterback drive runs into the tailback, McLean, who gets drilled. Mason Shermer right there to put the hit on McLean after he made the little running back screen catch.
I don't even know they got back to the line of scrimmage.
Well, and a great job by the Festus defense and McLean. As soon as he
Casey McLean just 17 yards receiving on a couple of catches. And Festus gets hit with a defensive holding.
stays 1st and 10 at the 35, as the officials out there counting somebody. Now they're going to mark off some yards.
And so holding against Festus will put it at the 25.
That call was on this near sideline as to where we are on Trey Lacey's. He got caught trying to hold up a receiver that was going to go down the sideline. He just kind of wrestled him to the ground. The official immediately saw it through the flag and the conversation on the sideline because he put his palms up to the coach's staff. I don't have any idea which coach, but I heard a coach go, "Don't do it." There's good coaching, right, Jake?
Right.
Don't do
That's exactly right.
McCarthy, nothing. I mean, there's just, you gotta, if you're Farmington, you gotta feel like it's 15-on-11 a little bit. I mean, everywhere you go, there's a chrome helmet kind of running at you.
Well, the speed of this defense is second to none. I mean, Jackson may compare. I missed that game. I was out of town, but it's one of those that watching this defense of Festus, they are sideline to sideline. No matter where you are, they are covering you with 8 or 9 hats getting to the ball.
Liam O'Brien that time. Southeast Missouri Mental Health halftime show coming up, providing mental health services since 1903 right here in Farmington. serving over 350 patients with over 1,000 employees. McLean on second down and long. They're behind the sticks. Still not back to the original line of scrimmage on the third play of this series. One of the largest employers in St. Francis County and growing. Find out how you can become part of their family by scheduling an interview today at dmh.mo.gov or call 218-6800 for Southeast Missouri Mental Health. They bring you the pending halftime show that is 5:48 clock minutes away.
Well, that's the thing with this offense of the Knights. I mean, they haven't even got into their groove where they're wasting time off the clock. They haven't had a chance to move the ball. They haven't had time to milk it down to keep Festus from getting the ball back.
I probably don't feel like they've had much room to breathe out there. Connor Rice in motion. Try, look out backside. He's swarmed under at the 39. There are 4 white shirts in the backfield. Jeremy Davis-Mays, Shermer's back there, Antonio Pixton. It's pick your poison if you're Festus. Again, meet you at the quarterback. 4 guys did on that play. Wow.
That's the bonus you have. I mean, we keep talking about what this Festus defense is doing. They're running a cover 1, which means 1 high safety. Everyone else is in man-on-man, or a cover 0 where there's no high safety, and that's what they got there was cover 0 and bring the house.
And so 4th down and a country mile for Farmington. The ball's at the 38. The first down marker's at the 15. Zoner with a high kick. It's caught 13-yard line and maybe a yard on the return for Chase Buchanan. Wraps up David Russell. 4:38 until intermission here from Ham Memorial Stadium. Pleasure to have you as part of the audience tonight on Parkland Sports Live. There is a marker down at the 24, and it's going to go against Festus.
Well, I was like you. I thought he was going to fair catch it and take it right there at about the 10-yard line. But as soon as he caught the ball, he made a huge step to the right.
Well, it might not be DeSmet, but that game next week is an interesting one to keep your eye on when Festus goes down to Jackson. We've seen the Indians this season. Farmington had one of their better games of the year in a game that didn't go in their favor.
There might have been a block in the back or a hold on the return.
And it was interesting coming into that game. Chad Speaker, as part of our pregame show on Knuckleball Primetime, was talking with Case and McLean in a sit-down. This drive's going to start at the 7-yard line. Leonte Williams takes it across the 10. He was talking about all the communication that has to take place on defense, right? All the checks they have to do, and I got to talk to this guy, and all of the movement that happens. And then, Jake, when you get an offense like Jackson or tonight like Festus that does everything so quickly, that's where some of those breakdowns can happen, which is why guys like Clifton end up wide open.
Well, and they're doing a muddle huddle. They're not getting into what they call their normal huddle where they get in and get the call, which they're doing a decent job with, but a couple times they've lost where their coverage is.
Muddle huddle?
Muddle huddle.
What's a regular huddle called?
Well, you get just a huddle.
Well, that's it? No fancy name for a regular huddle?
No fancy name. But muddle huddle, you know they're coming fast. We implemented that back when we started playing Jackson, and you knew how fast they were going to go. Do not get in a huddle. Just get close to the middle of the field. But what this does is it doesn't allow Farmington to go strength versus weakness, and it does give them a hard time getting to their checks and getting their coverage lined right.
3rd down and a long 5. It's Smith out of the shotgun, going deep. What a ball! Right side, just overshot his intended target.
A step on his man.
Boy, did he throw a strike, and Hunter Bates, he just outshot him by a little bit. That was a tight spiral down the right side.
We're going to see that again before the night is over.
Oh, what a pass.
Well, he hasn't had to throw one far. The other two have just been lobs downfield because of how wide open they've left somebody. I mean, that was a bullet and a half. And I mean, what did he overthrow by about 5 yards?
Another flag called against Festus. I would think they would decline this and bring up 4th down. And Mike, we saw Essien Smith last year have a tendency when he would come on in his series to kind of sling it around a little bit. But I'm not sure we saw a pass better than that.
Well, as far as just you're going to talk about spiral and with good air under it, honestly, the complaint is that probably should have gone for 6. They would have called it back because of the penalty, but that should have gone for a score. He had him that wide open, but he threw a beautiful ball.
Punt is still going to put Farmington in Festus territory, but that hasn't mattered yet so far in this half. We're down to 3:17, and the Knights still looking for their first points in the game. 20 on the board for Festus. The Knights have been able to slow down the Tiger offense lately, but Farmington's offense hasn't been able to find the gears yet. 3:17 to go in the half. Third straight series that Farmington will start on the Tiger side of the 50, this time at the 46.
First, we got a little business to take care of. Farmington has the ball once again. Festus territory, but
so Brett Dry is going to have to try to figure things out here and find out the recipe to get production against this defense. Over the middle, not on that play. Mason Shermer with the interception. The leading defender with his second pick of the year. And Festus on one play is right back to offense, and they're deep in Knights territory. Well, he almost had an interception on the last drive, and a ball that sort of surprised him that ended up hitting him in the hands. That one he read all the way.
And like you said, as soon as I started talking about it, the 16, the 35.
Brett Dry has had a fumble tonight, now an interception. That's his third thrown interception this season.
And he just overthrew his receiver.
Guys, when your quarterback, though, spends the entire night under duress, the chances of him having a few mistakes and making a few mistakes here and there are elevated. And I think he feels like he has to get it away so quick with all the pressure coming in. I mean, it's a good defensive play, but my goodness, they're in the backfield of Farmington within one count on almost any passing play.
So suffice to say, that whole conversation that you opened the pregame show with, Jake, those lines of scrimmage have been one-sided so far through a half?
Yeah, by all means. It's been Festus both sides of the ball. And not only is it Festus both tempo of the game that's hurting the Farmington Knights defense, they don't have a chance to get lined up correctly and get every guy on the field covered. With that being said, though, as Mike just said, Brett's been under pressure all night, so it's probably sitting in the back of his head not to make mistakes, and that's the first thing you usually do.
Wanting Jeremy Davis-Mays on the 1st down and 5 play after a procedure call on Farmington shortened the start of this drive down to the 31. He had Clifton over the middle. He was a little bit covered. Clock stops at straight up 3 minutes to go until intermission. Hale Memorial Stadium here in Farmington. Eric Krupe's bunch 6-6 last year. Had a winning record most recently in 2021, went 7-4.
also missing offsides call on Farmington. That's 2nd and 5.
Essien Smith.
With 3 minutes to go in the second.
Parker Perry has seen some quarterbacking this year for Festus, but it's been Essien Smith all night tonight. Perry coming in had 284 yards.
Festus has had, which ironically have been.
But both these guys, Smith and Perry, completion percentages right around 60%. And after this thing started 1st and 5, it's now 3rd and 10.
36-yard line, and they haven't moved the ball at all. And Farmington has done a good job.
Festus scoring on their first 3 drives of the night. Essien Smith all over that. Ran one in and threw twice to Aiden Clifton for scores. Clifton at the bottom of your screen in the slot, 45 in white.
It's kind of stalled a bit.
Spread look for Festus.
Middle of the field.
Smith out of the gun.
Fires over the middle.
Had a man, but overshoots David Russell. Little too far out in front of him, and it brings up 4th down. Now, Festus does have a good kicker.
Festus and so Favale.
Tons of personnel changing.
Yeah, they're going to try to maybe pin Farmington down to
But Hunter Bates
10-yard line.
has come out. They're at the 36. That'd be an awfully long field goal from here. I got too much college and pro in my head. 36, that's only a 54-yard field goal. They make those all the time.
Lined up to punt. He's going to try to
This punt angle to the right side. Oh, it's going to be a beauty. And it takes a Tiger roll inside the 10 down to the 9.
mark it out officially.
All right, so your offense hasn't done anything. Try to go 91 yards. Good luck, says A.J. Ofadale with 2:04 to go in the half.
2:04 to go. You're pinned up against the 10.
Wow.
When Festus getting the ball to start the second half, you almost feel like they have to push it.
Yeah,
You know, now we talk about Brett being under distress the last few series, even though they were on Festus into the field. How much pressure is he going to get here knowing that he's only 9 yards away from a safety? the pressure of the Festus defense coming at you. Try to limit your mistakes here if you're Farmington with 2 minutes left on the clock and run the ball out.
You kind of bore yourself to death.
Well, the offense already with their work cut out for them. Dry with the option, toss in the backfield. They bring Rice as a blocker. They go to McCarthy, and all that string it out to the side. They don't even get back to the original line of scrimmage.
Hey, Jake, I'll bring this up for you, but Greg, you can comment as well. When your defense is as good as this defense is, too, doesn't it make punting there a lot easier decision instead of worried about, do we go for it on fourth down? You can pin them deep, and the odds are you're going to come out in great shape.
Dry in the flat. Rice with a good catch. Hit immediately by Camden Yates.
Yeah, to answer that, Mike, I think it tells you you're up 20-0 right now. Let's pin them deep, and we may get a safety and the ball back out of this situation with the way our defense is played. Good call by this offensive staff to punt that ball away and not force anything and give them the ball towards midfield.
75 ticks to go in the half. Festus will get the ball to start the second half. Dry, feeling pressure, wrapped up, dropped at the 2 on 3rd and 5. And he stays out of the end zone, but it'll bring up fourth down. There is a marker down.
And that's that flag. There were a couple of players shoving. I don't know if they're going to offset these, but Shermer was the last push, one of the Farmington players, and sometimes that last one gets caught. I don't know if they'll just offset him. We'll see.
They call it against Festus. They would have had Farmington at the 2. Instead, it's a personal foul with 1:03 to go in the half. That would likely allow Farmington to keep the ball the remainder of the half. Wow. Actually marked that ball at the 4 when it was all said and done. So they put it out to the 19. And a first down for Farmington.
The official in the back giving him the timeout. AJ was yelling.
Knights are sitting with 3 timeouts, but boy, it has been so difficult offensively. Do you even risk trying to get anything out of this?
No, I mean, they gave Festus the timeout back, but I think right now you just try to run this ball out.
Shermer just lit up a back trying to defend him. There are 2 markers down on a ball that was lofted for McCarthy that he couldn't find with the Willie Mays style over-the-shoulder catch. But Mason Shermer up the middle just destroyed the guy that was assigned to block him. Man.
McCarthy was looking up over the top of his shoulder.
But more yellow laundry.
It's most likely going to be a PI against Festus because they had McCarthy wrapped up pretty good while the ball was in the air. But we were just saying, did we take a shot or not? I mean, Farmington's taking a shot, and so far it's worked out. 2 penalties to get them down the field. But also you got to keep in mind, I mean, there's 53 seconds. If you don't move the ball here and you run it, Festus has 3 timeouts here, and they may be able to make a stop and put more points on the board if you're not careful.
Shermer just about in your screen. He's 34 and white at about the 40-yard line on the right side. An absolute load to deal with. 6'2", 225, fourth-year man that anchors the linebacking core of this Festus Tiger defense. And now the officials want to sort some more things out, or Festus may have taken a timeout, and it's the latter with 53 seconds left in the half. That Southeast Missouri Mental Health Halftime Report coming up. We thank our sponsors, Ryan Blankenship Insurance Agency, RBIBrokerage.com, Matt Stroud Excavating. Call 756-2808. Spokes Pub and Grill for rolling good times right here in Farmington. Well, like you said, you've picked up yardage on penalties, which have continued to stop the clock. You've kept the timeouts in your pocket. Granted, you're not moving the football because you're completing passes or having big chunk plays that are actually structured that way, but you're still moving the ball down the field.
Well, I think if you're Festus, you called this just because you've had 2 plays in a row where you had an unsportsmanlike and then you had a PI that moved the ball for Farmington. They didn't do anything offensively to move it. I think you settle your defense down. I wouldn't be surprised, though, if they give a little blanket coverage to McCarthy because he is the fastest Farmington Knight on the field to make sure that he doesn't get free down the seam or into the secondary. But he's probably also going to bring a little bit of linebacker pressure here to put Brett under distress.
40 in black as McCarthy's lined up on the left end of the line of scrimmage.
running back.
In a slot 4 wide, Dry looks left, steps up in the pocket, throws to McCarthy, and just through his hands, incomplete. Right on cue, partner. That was the guy he wanted. It was decent coverage over there from Jackson Frank.
That time, Dry had a lot of time for that pass. He backed up.
Dry did a good job to climb the pocket a little bit that time and really had a ton of real estate in front of him.
I don't think he could have run the ball just yet.
But,
because first of all, they need a lot of yardage.
When you're under siege all night, an extra second feels like an eternity probably. I'm not advocating he should have run with it, but he had open field to survey and kind of look around and find receivers.
Drive right.
2nd and 10 is Festus pressing.
Dry on 2nd and 10.
It's a bootleg for
Here comes backside pressure. He rolls out in the flat. He had Zoner and he couldn't hang on at the 46.
just flat out.
Wow. Clock at 43.
And the sad thing is, Festus has called one timeout to set their defense. Now you're faced at 3rd and 10, and there's 43 seconds left. I mean, if they get this ball off and they wind up being able to punt, or if they don't get a first down, it's going to be a clock management by Festus to see if they can't move the ball.
Mike?
Guys, either of those 2 passes, the most recent 2, were very catchable balls. And if you catch them, who knows what you got going after they gave you a gift on a couple of penalties, but you drop a couple, and now not only are you facing 3rd and 10, but as Jake alluded to, you're possibly giving Festus the ball back with time on the clock. This is a pretty big play here.
Out of the gun, Dry stands. Here comes straight ahead pressure. He steps up again. He eludes a couple of guys. He'll get some out of this, but not enough for the first. Mike, I missed your verbiage. Did you say they were or were not very catchable?
Without doubt, catchable. They were zipped. He threw them with something on it, but if the ball's right there and you can't get your hands on it and you've got both hands and you can grab it, you want to see the receivers pull those in. I know, guys, we get spoiled because we watch the highest levels of football a lot, the college level and the pro level, and those guys, of course, make those grabs, and sometimes you forget, okay, it's a high school kid, the ball is zipped in, it's a slight behind him, we expect him to still be able to make the catch, but I thought both balls were catchable, and if you're going to win this game now, you got to make plays, and probably plays that aren't ordinarily made. You got to make some big plays, and they didn't make either one of those.
I asked because they look catchable up here, especially the one to Zoner. Looked like one right through his hands. So 4th down and a long 5 for Farmington. 36 ticks to go in the half. Festus down to 1 timeout. They called this one, which is why we're stopped, and the Knights still have 3. Farmington and Park Hills next week. Tonight, Central at Dexter, St. Clair at North County just up 67. DeSoto's at Potosi, Valley Catholic at Bowling Green. St. Jen goes north to face the Blue Jays of Jefferson. Fredericktown also heads north. They're in Imperial to meet the Windsor Owls, who we saw last week. On 4th down, Knights will kick it away. High hanger and a fair catch called for and taken at the 28.
30 seconds to go.
And with the way this offense has run for Festus, 30 seconds is plenty.
And about 72 yards between now and the end zone, Glenberry. But it's the Festus team that has shown the capability to have some big plays.
Yeah, they've got the.
So Essien Smith trying to bookend the half here. The Tigers will get the ball to start the 3rd. 3 straight scoring drives to open the game, followed by 3 consecutive punt series. And so the 7th offensive sequence for the Tigers comes now. Smith on 1st and 10 for the 28. Invites pressure, gets rid of it, throws it well away, and that's probably going to be intentional grounding, but the way a Farmington Knight reacted, it could be roughing the passer, so we'll wait and see.
When the flag was thrown.
You know, that's the hard thing about it. Yes, I would say it's probably roughing the passer, but anymore, they wait until intentional grounding. They'll come back up the sideline and see, did that ball get past the... But either way, you got to be smart if you're Festus. You can't get a turnover here.
All I know is this day and age in the world of football, you see a flag in the backfield, everybody holds their breath. Especially if there's contact anywhere near the quarterback, right? Did he hit him too hard? Did he land on him wrong? Did he hold hands with him too long?
You're probably going to send the whole kitchen sink.
Half the time you touch the guy, flag flies. Maybe not at this level. Maybe other levels. Leonte Williams, all kinds of room up the middle. He'll take it to the 30. And the Tigers will likely spend, I say that, their last time out. The clock rolls at 12, and they just keep on rolling. Now they're sort of looking to the sideline. Clock rolls to 7.
And does Coach Afonso just want to go to the half?
And they're just going to take it down, and that's going to be it. Well, we're going to test the wheels a little bit on this final drive, but the intentional grounding thwarted that. We go to the break, 20-0, Mike Field Level. Go ahead.
Quick impressions of the first half, Coach?
Well, we didn't start out great. Turnover, and they played with the short field the entire first quarter. Onside kick. So that didn't help. But once we settled down, once we got into some advantageous field position, things started to work better for us. Really proud of our defense those last 4 drives against an explosive offense, getting those stops. And so we've just got to continue to play that way on defense and get the offense rolling.
Talk to you afterward.
Sounds good. Thank you.
All right, Michael, thank you very much. 20-0 at the half. Festus on the road here in Week 8, leading Farmington, their final home game of the regular season. They go to Park Hills next week. Not a long bus trip, but here they enjoyed the friendly confines of Hale Memorial Stadium. But on the short end of the scoreboard, 20-0, the Southeast Missouri Mental Health Halftime Show is next.
Ready to roll up your sleeves and dive into a hands-on career? Mineral Area College is ready for you. Their MacTech industry and technology programs are all about getting to work and making things happen. Whether you thrive on fixing, building, or just plain problem solving, they've got a pathway for you. Welding, HVAC, auto tech, construction, and more. You'll gain the practical skills and real-world experience needed to thrive in today's job market. Take the first step to a fulfilling career in a MacTech program. Apply today at mineralarea.edu.
The Department of Mental Health for the state of Missouri is seeking an advanced practice nurse to fill a position on their East-Southeast Regional Forensics mobile team. This position includes daytime travel, a flexible work schedule with remote work options available, at a salary of $130,000 annually and tremendous benefits. This opening will not last long. To apply for the advanced practice nurse position or any other with the Department of Mental Health, please call 573-218-6800 or go to dmh.mo.gov. The state of Missouri is an equal opportunity employer. We celebrate diversity and are committed to creating an inclusive environment for all employees.
Matt Stroud Excavating and Hauling has the equipment and know-how to get that job done right. They dig basements, ponds, lakes, roads, and clearings and haul in the rock. Check out Matt Stroud Excavating and Hauling's commercial work at Domino's in Farmington and Fredericktown and Leadbelt Motorsports. Call Matt Stroud Excavating and Hauling today at 701-3258. That's 701-3258.
Hey kids, let's go to the Catfish Kettle.
Yeah!
Everyone's favorite is the Catfish Kettle. It's been a landmark in Farmington for almost 40 years. Get the famous all-you-can-eat catfish, chicken, shrimp, and homemade sides served family style for lunch or dinner. Or enjoy tilapia, crab cakes, fish tacos, frog legs, or even gator tail. All ready for you for lunch or dinner at the Catfish Kettle. Located at Karsh in Maple Valley at the entrance to Farmington. See the full menu at catfishkettlerestaurant.com. Kim Hudson is a real estate broker owner in Farmington with Coldwell Banker Holsey. Kim has been selling homes since 2004. She's a Farmington High School graduate and very active in the community. Whether you're buying or selling, she's there to help you through every step of the process. Check out Kim's latest listings at kimhudsonhomes.com or call 760-9789. That's 760-9789. Or email Kim Hudson at kim@coldwellbankerholsey.com.
Hey, it's Mark Toady here, and you know there's no better place to watch the big game than Spokes Pub and Grill in Farmington. Chris and Dina Spence invite you out to enjoy the great menu and the fun atmosphere that Spokes always provides. For me, I love the burgers. The catfish sandwich is amazing. The pork chops are awesome. They have huge salads, and you should always leave room for dessert when you go to Spokes. Check out their Facebook page to see when your favorite band is performing. And as always, for rolling good times, it's Polk's Pub and Grill right off Highway 67 in Farmington. Looking for top quality custom sportswear and activewear? Look no further than Nouveau Athletic. Nouveau Athletic blends innovative design with affordability, revolutionizing activewear for athletes, teams, and enthusiasts alike. From affordable, high-quality team practice wear to specialty sublimated activewear, Nouveau Athletic has grown to become a leader in sportswear and the industry, especially in cheer. Nouveau Athletic, where passion meets quality in every stitch.
For Nouveau Athletic custom apparel locally, contact Tia Cunningham at 573-701-6015.
Halftime at Hale Memorial. Greg Allen, Jake Whitener, Mike Reeves, our entire crew welcome you to Farmington. At the half, Festus in front, 20-0, a 6-1 Tiger squad, a 4-3 Farmington squad. Your scoring recap, it's all been Festus, and it came in the first 3 drives of the game. As Festus would kick off, Farmington would run 7 plays. The drive would end in a Brett Drive fumble that set up Festus at the Farmington 43. They would take 8 plays to get in the end zone. Essien Smith on a 3-yard touchdown run. It was his 8th rushing touchdown of the season, capping an 8-play, 43-yard drive that took 3:25 to do it. The point after is good, and Festus led 7-0. Tigers and A.J. O'Fodley, they'd go onside kick and get the ball right back at the Farmington 44. In fact, the Knights never touched the ball in the onside kick. It didn't look like. They needed 5 plays this time, and a wide-open Aiden Clifton, the beneficiary of his first touchdown receiving of the season. Essien Smith throws just his 3rd. It was a 31-yard touchdown strike, 5 plays, 44 yards, 2 minutes and 8 seconds. Point after was botched, no good, 13-0, Festus led. Tigers would get the ball back late in the first with 20 seconds to go. They'd start at their own 35. They'd need just 4 plays, and again it was Smith to Clifton, this time from 51, and the drive took 1:11 to go 65 yards in 4 plays. Point after was good, and Festus led at 20-0, and that is where we sit at the half, with the Tigers convincingly in front, getting the football to start the second half on a perfect fall night here on the gridiron at Memorial Stadium. Greg, Jake, and Mike, and I'll ask you, I'll just ask it this simply. Is this game over?
If Farmington can't go to the drawing board and come up with something to manage the clock. So when I say game over, to answer that, outcome going Farmington's way, can't truly answer that. I don't want to say they're out of it, but if they can't find something to control the offense and get some time off the clock and keep it out of Festus' hands while still managing to put some points into the end zone and on the scoreboard, I would say yes. You ultimately have to say we've got to do something just to slow down Festus in the second half.
Controlling the clock, that language in this sport usually means, 2-minute, 4-minute drive type stuff, using timeouts. You're talking about we need good things to happen when we have it, and maybe quicker rather than slower in the second half. But at the same time, we need to shorten their possessions so they can't increase the lead. Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, it was just a few years ago that we kind of had a flip scenario here where in the first half, I alluded to this a couple weeks ago when we were together, that there was a game that out of the 24 minutes, for 19 minutes, Farmington had the ball in the first half when they played each other. With that situation, of those 19 minutes, that was multiple possessions that they scored on. You need that type of style offense here in the second half. Obviously, different team, different schematics on offense, but that's what you need. You've got to be able to put together drives, manage the clock, keep it out of Festus' hands, because right now, yes, they have made them punt, but they're very potent at any point. One blown assignment on football, you're giving up those 51 and 31-yard passing touchdowns.
Essien Smith with his 3rd touchdown, our 3rd and 4th touchdown throws of the season, his 8th rushing touchdown of the year. And we'll throw it down to Mike Reeves, who I'm not really sure where he's at. He's got to be way out there somewhere. He's down the field somewhere. Anyway, I was surprised at how positive I felt Eric Krupe was. Okay, first 3 drives, but after that, things settled down. It wasn't what I expected your conversation to be with him, Mike.
Hey, I snuck in the booth. I'm right behind you.
Oh, okay,
anyway, I tell you what, I had 2 questions lined up. The one, the general impressions from the first half. And he answered my second one because I was thinking along the lines of, I wasn't going to phrase it this way, but it could have been a whole lot worse. But your defense did stand up and started to make some plays, and that was exactly where he went, was, hey, the defense the last 4 drives kept us there. So now the question becomes exactly what Jake talked about. Can you get some offense going? And can you hold them to 20 where they are now? You can't really let them score much more. You're not going to. Are you going to get 4 touchdowns in the second half? and right now you need 3 to win the game if you convert all your extra points. But you may be looking at it, your defense has to step up and pitch a shutout in the second half. And that is a chore to ask a defense to do. But they were very good the last, I'll say, 3.5 possessions. That last one, Festus did want to try to do some things with it, but at least the Farmington defense did on the one play that could have resulted in something for Festus positively. They made the play, they had the penalty, and they got out of the drive. So the last 4 times Festus touched the ball, they didn't do anything with it. They'll get it to start the second half too, so you got to make another quick defensive stop to stay in this one. To answer what you said, asked Jake just a minute ago, if Festus scores on the first possession of this half and they put it in the end zone, we're done. I'm not saying the game won't get close again, but I can't fathom a way Farmington scores 4 touchdowns and holds them scoreless the rest of the way if Festus can put it on the board right here at the start of the half.
Knights point totals by game this year, 17 in the season opening loss to North County, 28, 36, 35 in the Jackson loss. Then they went back-to-back in the 40 category, 45 and 49 against Union, and then last week held to 14 by the Cape Central Tigers. We're watching the game up here, and it just looks like utter domination on the line of scrimmage. Is it? Are we seeing anything? Are our eyes deceiving us at all?
Not in the least. And it's the 2 things that I talked about. One of them, I love their athleticism. Their big guys are athletic. That is fun to watch from that level because it's not always the case. Hey, nothing against the big boys up front, but a lot of times they are just big, plodding guys whose job is take up space. And you don't always see the great athletes. Festus has them. And secondly, the push they get defensively into the Farmington backfield has been there all night. And I have intentionally lined up along the line of scrimmage about 10 times just to get the look. It's all right, I want to see where do the helmets go. And the Festus helmets are in the Farmington backfield far more often than the Farmington helmets are pushing Festus off the ball. And normally when that's the case, as we've watched this for years, Jake, you've coached it, if the boys up front are dominating, you're in trouble if you're the team that's getting dominated. I don't care how good your skills players are, you're in a lot of trouble, and Festus is that good up front.
Well, there's 2 things to go off with that. Number one is I do want to give credit going back, and I'm gonna drive you nuts with this comment, right? But the offensive line of Festus, I mean, I made a comment off air that they have a number 70. He's a junior, and I mean Mason Winehouse goes 5'11", 290. And he's getting pull steps to the opposite C gap all the way across formation before the speedy back can even get there. It says something about the athleticism of what they're bringing up front. But on the flip side of that, there are some games that you can get dominated in the trenches if a team is putting the ball in the air and you have a very talented secondary behind you. This situation, they have athletes in the Farmington secondary. However, they forgot to cover them twice, which has led to the touchdowns. And that also comes with, number one, Farmington's banged up a little bit. They've had some injuries. But then number 2, off those injuries, one of them was the safety that went down last week in Bryson Logan, who was one of their starting safeties, one of their return men. Before that, you had Tinsley there. Tinsley's out. So you've got 2 guys down that are used to playing that extra safety position, that now you're on number 3, that just so happens that all 3 or both those touches came off that number 3 safety.
Well, I was just going to ask you before you went into that a little bit, because you're light years more connected with this Farmington team than I am. Eric Krupe told me leading up to tonight that they're a banged-up bunch and in multiple spots. You're talking about the secondary. How much of what we're seeing tonight is because other guys at other positions are either playing the wrong position, a different position, or just guys being out?
Well, it hurts you. You have Casey McLean, who's at 90%. You need him at 100% by the time you hit district. So what's 90% in a 20-0 game right now? You have a fill-in in Isaac Owens playing tight end, who is one of your starting tackles during the season. So you have a hefty boy playing tight end. You know he's not probably going to catch a pass or go downfield. He's just there for the blocking scheme of opening up a C gap or a D gap. You've got to make sure that whatever you do second half, if you're trying to get momentum and come back in this game, be logically sound with how you're approaching it. You can't take many more bumps and still expect to compete in the first early rounds of district play.
So, Mike, you said if Festus goes down and sticks points on the board in the opening drive, does that mean they can't score the rest of the game? Because whether you do it on drive 1 or drive 5 of the second half. What difference does it make?
It feels to me like they can't give up any more points. I think 20 is a number. All right, could we get 3 touchdowns and get to 21? I think that's reasonable. I think you can think that way. I can't fathom. I just don't know if you get 4. All right, let's take the turnover story out of the equation. You can't predict those.
Sure.
If Festus is going to lay it on the ground 4 times, all bets are off. Okay.
You get a pick 6 or something crazy.
Yeah,
right.
you don't. Those things. I'm just talking about if you play the standard game, nobody turns it over. I don't see Farmington being 4 touchdowns better than a half than Festus would be, which is what they would have to be if Festus scores again. So, no, I would say another Festus score is going to be enough for them, barring all those other things occurring, which nobody can predict.
We'll come back with the start of the second half, providing mental health services since 1903 right here in Farmington, Southeast Missouri Mental Health Halftime Show, serving over 350 patients with over 1,000 employees, one of the largest employers in South St. Francis County and growing. Find out how you can become part of their family by scheduling an interview today at dmh.mo.gov or call 218-6800. 28-0 Festus at the half.
Ready to roll up your sleeves and dive into a hands-on career? Mineral Area College is ready for you. Their Mac Tech industry and technology programs are all about getting to work and making things happen. Whether you thrive on fixing, building, or just plain problem solving, they've got a pathway for you. Welding, HVAC, auto tech, construction, and more. You'll gain the practical skills and real-world experience needed to thrive in today's job market. Take the first step to a fulfilling career in a Mac Tech program. Apply today at mineralarea.edu.
The Department of Mental Health for the state of Missouri is seeking an advanced practice nurse to fill a position on their East-Southeast Regional Forensics mobile team. This position includes daytime travel, a flexible work schedule with remote work options available, at a salary of $130,000 annually and tremendous benefits. This opening will not last long. To apply for the advanced practice nurse position or any other with the Department of Mental Health, please call 573-218-6800 or go to dmh.mo.gov. The state of Missouri is an equal opportunity employer. We celebrate diversity and are committed to creating an inclusive environment for all employees.
Matt Stroud Excavating and Hauling has the equipment and know-how to get that job done right. They dig basements, ponds, lakes, roads, and clearings and haul in the rock. Check out Matt Stroud Excavating and Hauling's commercial work at Domino's in Farmington and Fredericktown and Leadbelt Motorsports. Call Matt Stroud Excavating and Hauling today at 701-3258. That's 701-3258.
Hey kids, let's go to the Catfish Kettle.
Yeah!
Everyone's favorite is the Catfish Kettle. It's been a landmark in Farmington for almost 40 years. Get the famous all-you-can-eat catfish, chicken, shrimp, and homemade sides served family style for lunch or dinner. Or enjoy tilapia, crab cakes, fish tacos, frog legs, or even gator tail. All ready for you for lunch or dinner at the Catfish Kettle. Located at Karsh in Maple Valley at the entrance to Farmington. See the full menu at catfishkettlerestaurant.com. Kim Hudson is a real estate broker owner in Farmington with Coldwell Banker Holsey. Kim has been selling homes since 2004. She's a Farmington High School graduate and very active in the community. Whether you're buying or selling, she's there to help you through every step of the process. Check out Kim's latest listings at kimhudsonhomes.com or call 760-9789. That's 760-9789. Or email Kim Hudson at kim@coldwellbankerholsey.com.
Hey, it's Mark Tody here, and you know there's no better place to watch the big game than Spokes Pub and Grill in Farmington. Chris and Dina Spence invite you out to enjoy the great menu and the fun atmosphere that Spokes always provides. For me, I love the burgers. The catfish sandwich is amazing. The pork chops are awesome. They have huge salads, and you should always leave room for dessert when you go to Spokes. Check out their Facebook page to see when your favorite band is performing. And as always, for rolling good times, it's Spokes Pub and Grill right off Highway 67 in Farmington. Looking for top quality custom sportswear and activewear? Look no further than Nouveau Athletic. Nouveau Athletic blends innovative design with affordability, revolutionizing activewear for athletes, teams, and enthusiasts alike. From affordable, high-quality team practice wear to specialty sublimated activewear, Nouveau Athletic has grown to become a leader in sportswear and the industry, especially in cheer. Nouveau Athletic, where passion meets quality in every stitch.
For Nouveau Athletic custom apparel locally, contact Tia Cunningham at 573-701-6015.
Nearing the start of the second half from Ham Memorial Stadium here in Farmington. Knights 4-3, looking to remain above 500, but their work cut out for them here in the second half. They'll start trailing by 20 against a team they've split the last dozen meetings with. Festus has won the last two in a row, though, and convincingly, 42-0 and 41-20. Take a look at your Week 8 games around the area. New Madrid at Sykeston, Lift for Life at Cape Central, Poplar Bluff at Kennett, Hillsboro and Chaminade. There's an interesting matchup. We talked in that midseason roundup, the different type of schedule the Hillsboro Hawks have and the people they played. SLU was on there earlier, and this is one of their season wrap-up games against Chaminade. St. Vincent at Grandview. St. Pius is in Tennessee taking on Baylor. Crystal City at Scotland County, Herculaneum at Perryville, Fredericktown at Windsor, St. John at Jefferson, Valley Catholic Bowling Green, DeSoto and Potosi, St. Clair and North County. The team we see next week here on Parkland Sports Live, the Park Hills Central Rebels. They're getting the number one team in their district tonight. They're in Dexter. They'll play host to Farmington next week. Farmington, you look at that district, and something else we talked about, well, it's a district that is, no matter how you want to cut it, you can't sit there and look at that thing and say, Cardinal Ritter. That'll be fun.
Or, I mean, even after last week, Cape Central, St. Mary's. I mean, just keep going down the list until you get to number 4 at Farmington. I mean, the top 3, I mean, there's not a slouch there. But then, we obviously see the number 1 seed, Cardinal Ritter, who's just a phenomenal program right now.
After Farmington, who sits, as Jake said, in a 4-hole, you've got Webster Groves, Melville, and Poplar Bluff. Meanwhile, for Festus, they're 6-1 with another 6-1 bunch. How about the season the Perryville Pirates have put together? Points-wise, Festus has an 8-point lead on them. I talked with former longtime communications director with the State Association, Jason West, and asked him, okay, with all of your magical calculations of however this computer churns out these points, what is a legitimate number that if somebody's got an X point lead over a team behind them, that you'd feel reasonably comfortable they couldn't catch them? His answer was 7. 7 in a week is kind of a lot to make up. So Festus has an 8-point lead over Perryville coming into tonight. Hillsboro is .02 points behind Perryville. It's about as close as it gets. They're in the 3 spot. North County at the 4. Sykeston, DeSoto, and Windsor round out the pack. But as we talked about also in the midseason roundup with you and I, Jake, Chad Speaker, Mike Reeves, the floor this year, teams conference-wide, that's up a little bit. There's no team in that district that's worse than 2-5 from a more immediate area perspective. That team is Sykeston, by the way. There's no team that's worse than 3-4.
Yeah, and
that's pretty good.
I mean, to go back and we talked about the floor, but this also goes back to that conversation of your strength of schedule, playing up, getting those bonus points, win, lose, or draw against a team that has a tougher schedule, gives you those little extra bonus points to promote your score at the end of the season.
Knights will kick off the 3rd, and they'll start down 20. So Essien Smith in his senior year, 5'11", 180. A.J. Ofadale named the 9th football head coach in the history of Festus Tiger football. It's kind of the opposite of what we've been talking about a number of these teams throughout the season that have had 9 coaches in 20 years, right? Festus has had 9 in their history. Joel Critchlow, longtime head coach at Festus before Russ Schmidt took over in 2007. He stayed until 2019. Little pooch kick caught at the 27-yard line, running laterally across the field, and then trying to find a seam upfield is Jackson Frank, and he'll squirt his way along to the 35 and to the 38-yard line. So decent field position again for Festus to start the second half.
You know, as Mike said at the halftime with us, this is the drive. I think this drive dictates the rest of the game for Farmington. They get a stop. If they can flip the field position, maybe put some points up, may see a ball game in the second half. But if Festus controls this and that offensive line marches it down the field, it could be a long second half for the Farmington Knights.
460-yard running back alongside Essien Smith, Leonte Williams in the backfield. He'll get the call, and he can be a load to deal with. He's got the midfield line and a little longer than that on the first down play for Festus. Ready to roll up your sleeves and dive into a hands-on career? Middle Area College is ready for you. Their Mac Tech Industry and Technology program is all about getting to work and making things happen. HVAC, construction, auto tech, and welding and more. Take the first step to a fulfilling career at a Mac Tech program. Apply today at middlearea.edu. Williams again will tote the rock. He'll get through the pile, now to the outside, to the 35, down the right sideline. Flag on the play and a block, and arms outstretched to the sky. Trey Lacey like, who, me? Meanwhile, Leonte Williams is all the way down to the 22, but everything says this is coming back.
Big pile there at the
well, how he got through that massive humanity at the line of scrimmage, I have no idea. But it's the third holding call of the night against Festus.
You know, that's one of the hardest things as a receiver. You're downfield stalk blocking, and you're setting up that back to go inside, which is where the play was designed to go. And he just went ahead and said, no, I'm going to go outside. It switches everything with the hand position of that receiver, and it makes it hard to stay on your stalk block for 4, 5, 6 seconds.
So you're saying it's Leonte Williams' fault for going the wrong way?
Yes, I am going to blame him for that. His receiver had a great block. Read the block.
Looks like he's only got a couple of guys.
When I'm blocking here, you go this way.
The defensive back and
so Smith in the offense into Farmington territory inside the 40 at the 39. Set up 1st and 10 out of the gun. Way out of the gun. 6 yards behind the line of scrimmage. Smith stands, and this one is blown dead before the snap. We got a flag on the near side at the bottom of your screen. Farmington's done a good job tonight. I can't remember. Has Farmington had a penalty called against them tonight?
No, the one we thought was going to be rough in the passer was intentional grounding. That's the only one that they had thrown. Oh, they did have.
They had a 1st and 5 down here. They have had one that I can remember. Festus has only had 6 or 7. 1st and 15 though here. Just underway in the second half. This the opening drive of the half. Festus leading by 20.
Williams, the running back, on the 1st and now 15, and they gave this to Williams.
There go Leonte Williams again. He'll get the 40 and nothing farther. Connor Rice, Chase Buchanan there to stand him up. And so 2nd and 11. Essien Smith, number 2 in white. Right side of your screen, just standing, waiting for the call from the sideline from A.J. Ofadale, who spent 4 seasons on Coach Barry Odom's football staff at the University of Missouri before coming to Festus. Knights jump, no yellow yet. Lost it downfield, got a man wide open. Nice way to drop it in the breadbasket. Over the shoulder catch to the 1 by Hunter Bates. Well, we have seen some really good throws tonight by Essien Smith. He looks so much stronger than when we saw him in his rookie season.
I was just getting ready to tell you, as you were going through that was the same formation that they'd hit their tight end on both their passing touchdowns.
And so 1st and goal at the 1. Smith going to hand off straight ahead into the black painted end zone, and Festus right down the field on a 62-yard drive and adds 6 more. And maybe a backbreaker for Farmington.
Well, Williams, he just got the ball and went up the gut. The offensive line did a great job of moving Farmington backwards.
Leon?
Like you're talking about the way the ball looks. I don't know if it's descriptive enough. He throws a pretty ball, even on some incompletions, and it is different than we saw a year ago. Really solid.
4 plays, 62 yards, and they do it 3 seconds shy of 2 minutes. Point after is good, and it's all Festus 27-0. It was a 42-0 blowout win a year ago in this matchup in the favor of the Tigers. Boy, they've got Farmington on the ropes tonight. And that pass downfield to Hunter Bates. Bates coming in, 14 catches, 167 yards, and boy, he wanted the end zone. It would have been his first touchdown of the season. Instead, he has to play setup man to Leonte Williams, who's into the end zone on the ground for the 6th time this year. And so Farmington and Brett Dry's job just got a whole lot harder at 27-0.
27-0.
Well, we came in so much talking about this Festus defense. I mean, offense has put up 27 and a half plus, a half in 2 minutes. Wacker to kick it away. He averages 45 yards a kick. It'll bounce at the 18 and picked up on a hop by Jack Embry. And he'll get to the 20, just over the 20. I mean, at some point it turns into desperation, but how difficult is it for an offense like Farmington, like a game like tonight, that you look up at the board, you're like, well, this has not gone well, to still try to stay true with what you do on offense and not panic?
I think this is the drive that dictates that. I mean, panic shouldn't be set in. Yes, you're losing, but you still have plenty of football. This is the drive that says we got to find our identity in this game and move the ball.
Casey McLean with around a 5-yard run on 1st and 10. McLean, there hasn't been much for him tonight. There hasn't been a whole lot for any of the Farmington offense and playmakers on that side of the football.
Also, you got teams keying on him because they know if he is healthy and he can get the ball.
Part of that big number 34 staying in the middle of that Tiger defense.
To key on him.
Who's instructed with a lot.
Not much help there with the offensive line.
Brett Dry, man across the formation, the backside. They'll stay in the middle this time, and that time Casey McLean picked up nearly 10 yards. Good pickup there. Fresh set of downs, 1st and 10, 9-10 to go in the 3rd.
You know, and this is that Farmington, pound the ground mentality, but the problem is you're going to run out of clock here if you are starting to mount these drives with Kaysen finally getting going. The only thing is Josh McCarthy's quick. I'm not sure if there's anybody on the field. Brett Dry's quick. They can outrun this entire Festus defense. They've got to rely on a couple big pops to get down the field.
Dry getting out of the gun. He's going to hand off again to McLean, and they'll be content with just a couple.
Poor Festus, you think a Tiger would have those things.
And the run out of clock portion of that conversation you just said was part of why I asked, when do you start to just, I know this is what we do, but we're down 27. We got to do something different.
The only problem with that is they haven't had much success. Early they did, their first drive. I mean, they had 2 plays that were good completions, but since then, Brett's been under so much distress that I'm not sure how much confidence or accuracy he has in himself right now to put the ball downfield.
Festus is the home team because we're in white. Second down.
Trying a handoff.
Is going for a couple more. It looks like
and maybe 2-3 yards. 3rd down coming up.
When home teams used to wear those white colors and the road team was in the dark uniform.
3rd and 5.
The opposite's happening.
Yeah, we've seen Farmington wear those black uniforms the last couple of weeks. And we've seen the road team wearing.
A.J. Ofadale played tight end at the University of Missouri, was first team all, this is to tell you how long ago it was, first team all Big 8. Remember that? 1993, the old Big 8. Dry on an option, and McCarthy's got to do a ton of room and a ton of work to get to the marker, and he's going to end up just short, I think.
39, they're going to mark him down.
He had to get around the 43, and he's around it, but it's going to be 4th down and short.
Needed 5, got 4, and so
get big, Rob, let's go!
We'll see what happens.
27-0 Tigers. Under 7 minutes to go here in this 3rd.
Here they go. 1, pistol look, drive.
Fourth down, McCarthy in motion.
McCarthy, and now they will reset instead of it.
And Dry looks to the sideline for a possible play call change. And fourth and short, whistles blow.
Now,
I see no flag.
ready to go. The play clock was at 0.
Or possibly the play clock ran out. And it did. Nope. Timeout called by Farmington before the down clock ran out. Interesting.
Farmington has a 4th and 1 decision. See what they do.
The timeout are they going for? Which you contemplating?
I get the interesting comment was in relation to calling the timeout. So I guess my extended answer would be I'm surprised they're going for it. So therefore I'm surprised they'd burn a timeout to try to go for a play that I probably wouldn't go for.
And which is the shame of it, because they have the opportunity here to be at, what I thought they had time on the clock to get it off. They had the 1 or 2 seconds left on the play clock to get it going, and it looked like McLean maybe had an alleyway on this B gap, but at the same point, I think all you did here was you gave Festus' defense a chance to maybe stack inside a little bit more and get a look at your formation.
I mean, I guess if you are trying to win a football game,
Substitutions, it's a 4th and 1.
my thinking is you might need that timeout later, but down 27, I'm not sure we'll get that close. Dry's going to have the first down. He's going to have the corner. He's going to have a lot more after that. Dry down the far sideline, inside the Tiger 30, and the biggest gain of the night right there for Farmington on that play. Puts them deep in Festus territory, but they've been here before and couldn't cash in. They had a drive that started at the Festus 16-yard line and missed on 4th down.
And a couple of defenders on the Festus side, I think.
Well, here they're at the 23, but you got to start somewhere. And this is almost an absolute must result in points drive if you harbor any thoughts of winning a football game. They almost fumbled the snap. Dry had to tip it to himself, and then he swarmed under quickly after that, so a big loss on first down.
And that's probably one of the comments you have to make as this offensive staff. You can't have any negative plays. You can have nothing that goes back. You can't keep setting yourself in double stick territory to where you've got to get plus 10 yards to get first downs.
Greg Allen, Jake Whitener, Mike Reeves, week 8 of high school football. A season started back on August 30th in Bonne Terre. North County beat these Knights 24-17. And some of the guys, Casey McLean, Brett Dry, were saying it was kind of a slap in the mouth to go to North County and lose in week number 1. Some blockers this time for McCarthy. He's going to get a lot of that yardage back and then some. After the first down botched snap, now it's 3rd and manageable. And the Knights went on a nice little run, winning 4 of 5 after that week 1 defeat. The only loss in that next set of games, the Jackson game, 49-35.
And, Farmington's got some speed down there on the running back position and the quarterback position. And
so big 3rd down play here.
Every time they've been in the red zone, you'll recall their first time they started in the red zone, 3rd and 4.
Dry to McLean to the 15.
That's about the 15, but that's about it. It's a 4th and 2.
Well, this is 4 down territory. Yeah, 27-0.
Guys, this might be more for Jake because you can watch it with Greg calling the game, but I've been watching a lot on this left end and watching Owen Gardner and what he's done down here. We've got a real good look at him on that left end. He seals everything off very well and does a good job then of getting back into the middle of the play, goes up the middle. Non-football related, guys. I know we live in the world of drones now, but when they buzz you on the sidelines, you're not expecting them. It's still a little disconcerting.
4th down and short, 4th and 2. Dry to McLean. They're going to go straight ahead up the middle on this, the teeth of the Tiger defense. And it's close. Sideline reporter says Tiger football. I'll buy him more than anybody else that's participating in the game. He's looking through unbiased eyes, and the Tiger defense has held, and my partner is right for the first time this year. 1 for 35, which does not put you in the Hall of Fame, sir.
Still no signal yet. Looks like they're going to bring out the chains.
By the way, I've noticed that drone flying around all night.
Gave it to McLean. You like the decision there, Glenn?
I think they want to bring out the chains, but there's not a lot of need to based on the sticks on this side. I can't fathom any way they stretch this out, and it's not a little more than half a yard short. The official on my side of the field, he went in to spot it. As soon as I saw where he was running in, I'm like, no, not even. I mean, for Farmington, this is going to be a bad spot. I can't even imagine it's close.
And those chains on the near side, bottom of your screen, were the official ones. And it's Tiger football. So again, Farmington sniffs the red zone. They get down to the 16 and no farther after that. Their longest drive of the night as far as plays, 10, stalls out. And so now Festus can just do what they do. Everything in their favor, the clock, the score. Coming up on 4 minutes to go in the third. And Essie and Smith.
The Festus interior line. It's a 1st and 10 for Festus at their own.
Tigers poised to go to 7-1.
Essie and Smith in the game with Camden Gates as the back. Shotgun look. Gates is to the right.
Got a tailback to his right. It's an RPO, and Smith is going to hang on to it, and maybe the wrong read. If he lets that go into the hands of Camden Yates, it looked like he had a lot more room on the outside.
And there's been a couple of them like that where it looks like the zone read, if the quarterback would have pulled it, they had the whole sideline to go. And I agree with you. I think it was just a bad read on that. I don't know if maybe he didn't have good grip on the ball or what, but if he would have given that ball, there was a lot more green in front of him.
3 yards, 2nd and 13.
One of those slow mesh plays that Wake Forest used to run the same part.
Second down and called a long 12. He's going to loft one near side sideline. That one's going to hang up a little bit. Jeremy Davis-Mays with a great catch at the 38. Feet in and then out of bounds. Well, I'll say this. When Essie Smith throws the football, and I'm talking about a reasonable pass play like that, some of the ones over the middle, some of the ones down the sideline, the one down to the 1 yard line, he looks so comfortable. And he gets a lot on it with what looks like minimal effort. And maybe that's what I'm so impressed with, because I remember his rookie season. Not that it wasn't effortless, but it looked rushed and hurried.
Well, comparing him from years past, I mean, I agree with you. He looks like a much different quarterback. We talk about the poise of McClure in North County. He's obviously got a little bit more experience. He had some split time with Maya Cunningham at the helm there for a couple years, series by series. Same point. He looks very poised, and he looks like he's got a very good accuracy this year with his passes.
Handoff to Yates up the middle this time. Flag comes in on 2nd down. Michael?
Well, gentlemen, how much more comfortable are you going to be as a quarterback, though, when you can stand back there and know you're not going to get hit?
Well, that's true, too.
And he's not being touched on pass plays. He's got time to look, and then, yes, he's making the throws, but every quarterback will tell you, give me some time and a couple of good receivers, I'll find them. And he has not had any. He hasn't been rushed at any point in time on any ball he's thrown tonight.
I can tell you one quarterback that won't do that.
Really surmount during the course of this game.
Flag goes against Festus, 2nd down.
2nd and 16 on the flag.
Be playing for a team that they're making all kinds of jokes and memes about their offensive line this year.
That would be the team. They get a running back on Sunday. 2:34 to go in the third.
That city's had a good baseball team all year, though. There's something to be said for that.
Down 3-2 in the 5th. Game 4. And another stoppage. Well, I'll give you one if you give me one, Festus. Only one team's going to end their season by winning it all and not losing. So let's just assume Festus doesn't win a state championship. But I'll give you next week and a win at Jackson. So Festus would finish with 2 losses on the year. The last time they did that was A.J. Ofadale's first season, 2020. They went 10-2 and lost to Union in the state quarterfinals. So I don't know how deep this team is going to make a run. They got a monster next week, but we heard this for so many years now that the system and the playoff scenarios, is what we have in place, has been here now. How much do you show in week 9? How much do you rest guys, especially if you're kind of set in your district standings when week 9, it might be a great game, but it might not mean a whole lot. I'll even give them the win next week, but this is a team that can do some things come postseason time. They're number 1 in the district. That I would think they would be heads and shoulders the favorite of against anybody in that district. And then it's all what lies ahead after that.
And in recent years, Greg, obviously, they've done well at district, and they've had Hillsboro stand in their way so many times, and that's been an issue for them. But if that game with Jackson, if both teams play it as a real game,
right,
that could be a 50-45 game based on what we've seen from the two teams. Because Jackson can score against almost anybody. We know that.
Yeah, we saw that. Smith stands, another deep ball. Davis Mays won't catch up with that one.
Tried to flash the speed that time to Davis Mays.
It's a little too far out in front of him.
I think the difference for next week, you said if you're already set your district, what's the value in that game? I think there's some mental integrity there going into your district play. But I will say this, watching this Festus team tonight, they got to clean up. They can't have those penalties if they want to go toe-to-toe with Jackson.
That's a good point.
And be able to come out ahead in that game. As Mike said, that could be a game, whoever has the ball last wins that in a very big, high-scoring game.
3rd and 16, football at the 32. Smith out of the gun, and before he's hit by an oncoming rusher and Caleb Leask, they'll blow this one dead. And that's part of what you're talking about right there. Now more movement on Festus, and whether you're trying to go to Jackson and win or win in a postseason. And I'll leave that little caveat there with Hillsboro. I do think Festus is the better football team, but boy, that score in a regular season was awfully interesting at 14-7. You don't see that very often in high school football, and that kind of tells you, even though you look at the standings and Hillsboro sitting 3rd right now, 0.02 points out of 2nd, can still be a challenge for Festus, especially in a rivalry game. We'll pass in the flat. It's not going to be enough for the first down, but it'll make it 4th and manageable if A.J. Ofadale wants to attempt to go for it, but why would he? Jackson Frank made the catch and took it to the 43, but Festus will kick it away.
I think the one thing you say about that score, though, is, correct me if I'm wrong, that same week, though, was the typhoon that came through, so 14-7 ball game in a very heavy rain-poured game.
Farmington trying to get to the kicker. Fair catch called for by Fripp, and he'll take it at the 26 with a $1:40 to go in the 3rd. We thank our sponsors for their participation tonight. Kim Hudson Realty at Kim Hudson Homes, KimHudsonHomes.com. The Catfish Kettle, just up the road, world famous all you can eat. Nuvo Athletic representative Tia Cunningham. BetterHelp.com/The Barn. Check them out.
15 seconds, so we'll come out of this.
From their own 26 with 1:40, 100 seconds to go in the 3rd.
Out of the timeout, Farmington Knights with their next possession.
Second offensive series of the second half. They'll keep it on the ground to McLean. He'll get the 30. Man, he's wrapped up by Aiden Clifton, who's caught a couple of touchdowns tonight. First 2 of the season for that young man. Second down, Farmington. Hope you'll join us next Friday. Knights on the road in Park Hills to meet Corey Schweiss and the Central Rebels at Dexter tonight. Huge matchup for the guys out of Park Hills. Rice in motion, and that play is sniffed out nicely by a couple of Festus Tigers, and McLean lost yardage.
I'm thinking in Ohio, FM station played one game in 1 year and one game in
3rd and 8.
So in other words, if you panned your speaker to the right channel, you can listen to one high school game. Panned it to the left, you can listen to the other high school game. And some folks stepped in and said, hey, you can't do that. I don't think it was like a FCC violation. But
Final 37 of the quarter.
And we actually talked about trying to do that at one point, just because if they got away with it, we might try to do it ourselves. There's a 3rd.
Time to throw. Brett Dry into double coverage, looking for McCarthy, incomplete. Bracketed near the 50. Liam O'Brien part of the coverage, and that brings up 4th down.
He did exactly what he needed to do right there. Don't try to be a hero and jump up and make a fantastic catch. Just get
So the Knights will kick it away. Zoner back on.
Disrupt his pattern, disrupt his concentration, and not allow him to catch.
Clock stopped at 26.
On their own 27.
And sending the punt unit.
Miller College ready for you if you're ready to roll up your sleeves and dive into a hands-on career. Their Mac Tech industry and technology programs all about getting to work and making things happen. Here's the kick by Zoner. It's going to be caught right at about the 40-yard line by his numeric counterpart, David Russell, and he's got room. And down the sideline, he's dragged down out of bounds just shy of the 30. Auto Tech, welding, construction, and HVAC and more. Take the first step to a fulfilling career at a Mac Tech program. Apply today at middlearea.edu. 15 seconds to go in the third. Tigers back on offense. Fourth time they'll start in Farmington territory, this time at the 32. Their best starting field position of the night. Like they need that this evening.
Seconds to go, third quarter, last play of the quarter to give.
Handoff, Williams, all kinds of room. This time comes inside the blocker, then runs them into three black-clad Farmington Knights and wrestled down near the 15. And the clock stops at 7. Now they'll roll it, and that should take us to the fourth. It's all Festus. They do score on the opening drive of the third. And this just their third possession of the second half. Final set of 12 coming up. Tigers on their way to 7-1. 27-0 they lead Farmington. Festus on the move again. Start of the fourth quarter. Greg Allen, Jake Whitener, Mike Reeves. Chad Speaker gets the call next week from Park Hills to wrap up the regular season of high school football. Central and Farmington in a nice rivalry matchup there. Farmington kind of bookends their schedule with rivalry games against the closest area opposition, North County and Central. A couple of trips just north up 67. Festus will have a 1st and 10 from the 16 coming here. Trying to improve on a 27-0 lead. Essien Smith in his now senior season.
Festus, as it were, is in the red zone again, and Smith will give.
And he'll hand off to Hunter Bates. And he's wrapped up at the 15.
Officially about a yard.
That was a very odd play. If that was supposed to be a true jet sweep, the timing was way off on that.
When it's not Williams, it's somebody like Bates, and sometimes it's Smith himself.
My partner is traversing the far Farmington side of the field level. General demeanor, conversation, mood on the Farmington sideline. Mike, you can comment after this second down play.
Second down.
Smith gonna keep it and roll, look right in the flats, got a man wide open, and he takes a stick at the 5-yard line. And that was Aiden Clifton, the 2-touchdown man tonight. Mike, go ahead.
We're in the fourth quarter. You're down by 27, and you haven't scored a point yet. I'll let you guys try to figure out the demeanor, exactly what you think it would be. They're just, I mean, it's hard to be fired up. It's not that they're not trying. It's not that there's not effort. Eric Krupia said all year that, hey, I've gotten effort from this group. I've seen that. But tonight, they haven't been in the football game competitively, and it's not any better at this very moment.
Smith to Leonte Williams, and wrapped up just before he got to the goal line on second down.
You know, and there's moral victories and things. I mean, how easy would it have been on the 1-yard line to let him scamper in? And the young, converted tight end and Isaac Owens at least makes a play to stick his nose in and keep him out from getting the extra points on the board.
One more time for Leonte Williams. Bounces off a man, reaches the ball to the goal line, but it came out. And it's Farmington football, and that converted tight end keeps points off the board because Farmington got the strip. The dive from Festus, they say he did not break the plane, and the Knights recovered.
Dive for the end zone.
And gentlemen, if you want to talk demeanor, Eric Kirby's in the middle of the field exhorting his defense. I mean, pumping fists, pointing at players, patting them on the shoulder pads, popping them up against the helmet. You would have thought that stop just, was the tie game late. I think that tells you what the coaching staff is looking for in terms of they want to see from the team, because that was, after Greg, your question about demeanor, there's something to look for. Your head coach making that kind of reaction in a game that's pretty much out of reach.
Well, now you got to get the football out of your own end zone. If you're Farmington on 1st down and 10, you're going to hand off. Big boys up front, and McLean works his way past the 10 to the 13. Well, when I asked you that question, Mike, I'm glad you expounded on your answer, because I'm like, really, we're paying you for this kind of analysis when you just say, well, it's 27-0, they haven't scored. It's pretty much what you'd think it was.
I really thought
I could have said that.
I really thought he was just getting his laps in on the track, like he didn't get all of his steps in today.
So 1,873 steps shy of 10,000. I've got to get there before the night's over.
1st and 10 from the 12.
1 yard line. Festus coughs it up.
So they gain 11 by McLean. McCarthy in motion. Dry get a pass. And it's caught over the flat. Running near side. Connor Rice around zoner. And they mark him out of bounds at the 42. A.J. Ofadale is freaking out. Chewing out one of his players. Looked like Mason Shermer. 9:54 remaining in the 4th, but a 27-0 ball game. 1st and 10 from the 42. And not much on that play there, as McLean is swarmed under. Taken down by Owen Gardner, the man that Mike talked about earlier.
We saw them do that last week when the game was out of hand. They finally started getting.
I think that's something, if you're Festus, you got to make sure you're doing as a defensive staff. Regardless, I think he was going after the official on that. I think the receiver was holding him from the Farmington side. But regardless, you can't let your defense give up big plays right now. You've played too great. You need to step up and make a stand if you're this defense of Festus.
2nd and 8 from the 45. McCarthy almost runs into Dry, who's now in escape mode, but he won't. Taken down at the 41. He stepped away from immediate pressure, had a 2.5 seconds to try to survey, but after that, too much.
He could get the ball downfield, but he had a couple of receivers.
It was really kind of a weird alignment by Farmington to send McCarthy, because that took 2 guys out because Rice was blocking off the backside. And like you said, McCarthy almost hit him in the back, which could have caused a catastrophic fumble. McCarthy did a great job tiptoeing around him, but definitely didn't look like that was the formation they wanted.
8:40 to go, 3rd and does. Dry on a clean rollout to the right. Stands, fires, all kinds of contact on the intended receiver. The defender is Trey Lacey, and no yellow.
Well, Farmington hollering on the opposite side now.
Boy, if there was ever a play I thought that might be flagged, it'd be that one.
Greg, I think what happened, the play was right in front of me. I think that both the guys were pretty much going at it at the same time. You got hand fighting as they go to make the turn out of the route. There was contact, but both kind of initiated it in the way the route was run. From my angle, I could see that just being let go.
Clock stopped at 8:34 on 4th and 12. And whistles will blow this dead, and Farmington, a timeout, their 2nd taken. And Coach Krupe is way off the sideline, arms outstretched, kind of perplexed about something on 4th and 12. Not sure if it's his team, although the way he's reacting towards the officials all gets it to them, and Mike's standing close-ish.
He wants the pass interference call that you wanted a moment ago on the play that was the previous to this one. He wanted the call, and that goes back, Greg, to a couple of calls early in the game where he thought that there was a little bit of contact on pass plays that was let go. That happened in the first half when I was over here. It was nothing egregious, but there were a couple of calls he'd like to have had, and I think that was what that conversation was about.
You see that conversation with Eric Krupe breaking up as Mike was finishing up the comment there. So 4th and 12 coming up. Great job by our crew tonight here from Hill Memorial. Eric Krupe didn't like what he got from one official, so he went over to the guy on his sideline and tried to chew his ear off for a little bit. 4th and 12. 8:34 to go in the ball game. 27-0 Festus. Dry stands, good protection for the moment. Right side has got Connor Rice, but missed it to the right, and Festus takes over. 8:28, 4th quarter.
I was expecting him to be a little bit further.
I think that's what you have to consider, though, is you've got to stand up for your players in a loss like this. I mean, with the points out of control, as far as being a game that you're going to get back in, at least show your players you're fighting for them, willing to argue with the officials, but still doing it in a respect manner. If, hey, my kids are working hard, we'd like to get a call on one of these.
Get away from their own 1 yard line, but
1st and 10 from the 41 for Smith and the Tiger offense. And they'll go Camden Yates to the left side. Camden Yates trying to turn it upfield and tripped up before he got to the 30 and dumped out of bounds right in front of Eric Krupe.
Mark at the 32.
number 3, Camden Yates with the right now. We got some updated scores for you. Valley Catholic over Bowling Green, 28-14. That's in the 4th.
27-0. Festus' first 3 drives of the game ended up in the end zone. And now there's a Knight down on the far side of the field. It looks like Casey McLean from here, but Mike's a lot closer.
And your view is as good as mine at the moment because I've got about 8 Farmington football players between me and the player. What I wanted to talk to you about as we wait to see who the injured Knight is. Guys, you see things on the field level you can't see up there. And when on that previous play, Festus runs the play to the left sideline and Camden Yates goes down, and he goes down hard right in the Farmington bench. 2 different Farmington coaches are over, hands extended, pick the kid up, tapping him on the helmet, saying, good effort, you're okay, get back out. But you don't see that when you're up in the stands a lot, that, you're competing against teams, but you also know, hey, that guy's trying just as hard as our kids are. Give him credit for the effort. And I noted that immediately, that you still got sportsmanship that's a part of the game, and especially in a game that's as violent and as intense as this sport is. I think those things just kind of go unnoticed, and I think they're good to see.
2nd down and short. McLean helped up. Back ready for play. Mosley. Football at the 32. And Essien Smith to Leonte Williams. And he's driven back. Fripp got through. And brings up 3rd down. Our coverage tonight brought to you by Nuvo Athletic representative Tia Cunningham. BetterHelp.com/thebarn. Kim Hudson Realty at KimHudsonHomes.com. First time I've read that one right all night. Wanted to do it one more time to get it right. 3rd and 3.
Talking about what Mike said, though, about the sportsmanship, because Shermer and Casey McLean on that turnover pass that was downfield for Rice, they were going at it hard in the middle of the field. Shermer came in on a hard blitz. Casey stuck his nose in. They were going toe-to-toe, and they gave each other a pat on the butt as it ended.
Smith's going to go down, caught from the backside. And at the 42. So 4th down. And that's the guy you were talking about, Isaac Owens. Sophomore, 6'2", 220. To get that sack and force the Tigers to punt. But just playing out the string at this point. With 7:09 to go. And now counting with the ball in play. And how in the world he got that through all the bodies that were in front of him, I have no idea. Wow.
It had to have went right between both those hips because they both jumped in the air. There was no room over the top. I mean, it was a line drive, was it not?
Yeah, I thought so too.
It must have went right between their hips because I thought that ball was going off the abdomen of one of those guys.
Well, I saw 3 guys standing around the kicker. I'm like, well, this is as easy a block punt as you're ever going to get, and then they never got it.
On that defensive line.
So from their own 29 with straight up 7 to go. 4th quarter.
Now he's explaining it to the Festus Tigers.
Join us every week. Knuckleball Primetime pregame show gets you great local and national sports content. If you're into it, we're into it. Watch for new uploads brought to you as always by the Barn Media Group.
1st down and 10. Dry's going to hand this one off to McLean.
And chase down tackle from the backside. Owen Gardner, who's been all over this game tonight, wraps up Case and McLean.
Time fading fast for these Farmington Knights.
So Farmington will drop to 4-4 heading to Central next week. Tigers will take their 7-1 mark to Jackson.
Other times they have not looked good at all. They have
This the penultimate week of the regular season.
the guys in the backfield.
2nd down and 9.
Defensive tackle getting into the backfield and really messing things up for the Knights.
McCarthy in motion. They give to him off the right side, and he'll get across the 30 and maybe a yard or 2 after that.
32, that's where they'll mark him. It's a 3rd and 7.
Number 40, Josh.
So 3rd and 7 coming up.
here over the last couple of weeks, especially the broadcast team. Been kind of blowouts on Farmington.
We started our broadcast slate with that Farmington North County matchup. We went to Jefferson in week 2 and saw Park Hills. Then back to North County with DeSoto in town, Farmington Jackson in week 4.
So it's been a
5:50 to go in the fourth. Dry on third down. Toss coming to the bottom of your screen. McCarthy trying to get the corner and the edge, but there's only white shirts there. They'll be short of the marker to bring up fourth down.
It was a few yards short of the sticks for him.
Everything basically in the second half for Farmington. Their fourth offensive series has been 4-down territory. That's what happens when you touch the ball for the first time in the second half and you're down 27.
I think this situation, though, I mean, they know where it's at. They know what the outcome of this is going to be. But for them, I think a positive would be maintain the ball the rest of the game if you're not going to score. Just keep it out of Festus' hands and keep it out of a turbo clock situation.
So 4th and 3. Dry. Pass. Tipped. Picked. Isaiah Demarius off the deflection. Tip drill play for Festus. And Brett Dry is intercepted for the second time tonight.
Guys, that was a big boy Rob Turner making that deflection. He got up, knocked the ball in the air, and the interception was a result. He has been terrific all night as well.
How many times do you think the Festus defense has ever worked the tip drill with their defensive line? Tip to each other so two defensive linemen touch the ball for the interception.
From the Farmington 22, third straight drive that has started in Farmington territory for the Tigers. And Essien Smith can put a capper on this one. Leonte Williams is going to break a tackle straight ahead. Leonte Williams all the way on one play from 22 out. Back in the end zone again. And the Tigers 33-0. They roar into Farmington tonight.
He put the arms around the ball and ran it straight up the gut and into.
And Leonte Williams, a big boy, run up the middle for his 7th rushing touchdown of the season. Whacker, true on the P18. It's 34. Well, after he got out of that shoestring grab, there wasn't a whole lot of resistance left up the middle for Leonte Williams. He started this half with a 1-yard touchdown run. He's now got a 22-yarder to go along with it. He had 5 coming in, averaging 7.1 per carry. That's a good football team. Weapons on both sides and a number of them.
I think with the way the game's going for him tonight, I think it gives him a little boost of confidence going into Jackson next week. You know, knowing how well they've played both sides of the ball, that it's probably going to boost their morale, knowing that they've got to go to the pit, which is, as we all know, not an easy place to go into and play football.
Festus is a touchdown and a 2-point conversion away from matching the final score in this meeting last year, 42-0.
34-0. Leonte Williams in the end zone for the second time, and Luke Wacker's back to kick this one away. I think we can use the ball one more time.
Fourth quarter, Dexter's got a 22-12 lead on Central in that key district matchup. We'll see the Rebels coming up next week. Decent return here by Farmington. Across the 30 to the 35 by Fripp. 5:21 to go in the ball game.
Well, I think right now this Farmington Knights team,
A couple different numbers coming on for Farmington.
they're down emotionally as well, and I think you've got to try to come up with something positive here in this last 5:21 of the game. Even if it's, getting that one touchdown in the game tonight to make the score a little bit better.
5:21 down 34-0.
Here offensively to help yourself out, and maybe even try to create.
And whistles
if you can going into.
will halt this one before play ever subsides. And it's a timeout taken by Festus.
Talk about it a little more after this break. You're listening to Friday Night Football.
Continue that check on the scoreboard. Third quarter, DeSoto 20, Potosi 13. St. John is blowing the doors off of Jefferson, 42-13. Fredericktown in Imperial's got a 34-16 lead on Windsor, and Valley Catholic is doubling up Bowling Green 28-14. All part of week number 8. Ready to roll up your sleeves and dive into a hands-on career? Mineral Area College is ready for you. Their Mac Tech Industry and Technology programs are all about getting to work and making things happen. Auto tech, construction, HVAC, welding. Take the first step to a fulfilling career at a Mac Tech program. Apply today at middlearea.edu.
Coming out of the timeout for the Farmington Knights.
That says something about Judd Nagger and what he's got. Valley, I mean, Bowling Green, I believe 7-0 this year, number 2 in Class 2. So, I mean, it's a good test coming into the end of the season before you hit district play.
Jackson Tinsley, sophomore quarterback at the controls for Farmington. And pretty much the same result as most of this game has been. Limited room to run, at times losing yardage. That time it was Porter Herman that got the call. And Farmington likely content to run plays and just run this clock out on the wrong end of a 34-0 ball game. Festus Tigers. This defense stood tall all night, and the offense took over from the opening drive. Essien Smith opened the scoring with a 3-yard touchdown run. Then he threw for 2 on each of the next 2 drives. That time again was Porter Herman. And then Farmington, you heard the conversation if you're with us at the half with Eric Krupp. He wasn't all that disappointed. And once we kind of got into the game and started getting some stops, my words, not him, it got a little contagious and we played better. Well, then the third quarter began with a Leonte Williams 1-yard touchdown run set up by a big pass play down to the 1. And then Williams found pay dirt again in the most recent drive, and that's where we stand at 34-0. 3rd down and 3, under 4 minutes to go. Temperature has dropped, but other than that, wind has not changed at all. Again, a handoff to Herman. He'll have first down yardage, and Farmington will move the chains, keep possession as they near midfield.
Chaminade beat Hillsboro bad, 62-35, and Dexter leads in the 4-22-12. St. John on top of Jefferson, DeSoto on top of Potosi, and Fredericktown leading 30.
Across 3.5 remaining fourth quarter. Jackson Tinsley going to run the option near side, going to keep it, sprint upfield, and take a shot, and down at the 43. Aiden Shermer that time brought him down. All right, so nothing went right if you're Farmington tonight, 34-0. Is this a flush-it game going into Park Hills?
I think it is. I mean, you come in, I'm not even sure you're going to fix your mistakes, but this is one of those games that you maybe only pick a handful of plays that you watch film on a Monday and say, you know what, we just got to be better than this. Let's get ready for the Rebels.
Option play again. Toss and a nice chase down tackle by Nemo Ford. Heck of a tackle there. Nemo Ford had just 2 tackles all year and able to keep Farmington off the board in a potential big play with that stop.
That was Chase Elder, and as he turned around that corner, out of nowhere.
Did not have that chant on my bingo card coming into tonight. Way to go, Nemo. That's what the lady in front of me just said. Was not anticipating that coming into the night.
I was waiting for him to make a play so I could say the Knights have to do a better job at finding Nemo. But there we go.
Porter Herman up the middle. Mike Reeves never disappoints. I had 22 years I had to deal with that. 22 years. 24, really.
I mean, I can't compete.
But 22 for a lot of days out of the year.
I can't compete with what you two bring to the table. I just stand here.
Under 2 minutes to go.
Next week at Jackson. Farmington going to drop to 500 on the year for their last game on the road. We'll have it on Campbell Sports.
Kind of feel like they need somebody in offense to be named Dory. 3rd and 3. High snap, picked up by the back that was running around the formation. But he's got a lot of work to do, and he's going to get hauled down. Nemo Ford. They found him again. Under a minute and a half to go. 4th and 11.
He might have just stopped and tried to throw it away downfield just to get the yardage back to the original line of scrimmage. But
So Jackson Tinsley, I'm afraid. Michael, go ahead.
Well, I was going to say I can't confirm it. I'm on the other sideline, but I think the Jackson coaches in a game like this just wanted to make sure they tell their guys, you just keep on swimming, just keep on swimming. That's the approach you got to take in a game like this.
34-0.
53 seconds to go. Jackson Tinsley gets
Out of the gun. Backside pressure, but going to throw it up. One-on-one coverage down the right side. Hit the receiver's hands, and he didn't catch it.
I was just going to say, I mean, you might as well just throw it downfield and see if they intercept it. It's better than trying to get your second-team punt out there. And I think the defensive back just underplayed that. Caden Renfro jumped just a little too soon, and you're right, the Farmington receiver went right through his hands.
You're saying the second-team punt team isn't good?
Usually you don't have a whole lot of – usually in practice you're not going your gold punt team. You stick with your black and you got some subs. So I could only fathom what JV punt would have looked like.
That's not a real well-oiled special teams machine right there?
Not
Second
always.
squad punt team.
talking about him all night in here.
45 ticks to go, and just for good measure, one more penalty.
That's Quentin O'Brien. That's the freshman corner in at quarterback.
You get a false start on a kneel-down play. There's a new one.
running back that was in motion
Rookie QB Quentin O'Brien.
formation and just take a knee. And he took off running across the field in the middle of the victory formation. And that's why he
Final 45 of a 34-0 Festus rout tonight.
And just taking a knee is O'Brien. Not listed as a quarterback, but I'm sure they just want to get some guys.
O'Brien comes in and has the easiest job of the night. Take 2 snaps with no pressure.
O'Brien is going to take a knee. Signed by
Take 1 snap with no pressure. That'll wrap it up. Game clock is 3 seconds ahead of the play clock, and Festus is 7-1. They come to Farmington tonight and lay it on the Knights 34-0. Farmington drops to 4-4, and our postgame show is coming next on Parkland Sports Live.
Kim Hudson is a real estate broker owner in Farmington with Coldwell Banker Holsey. Kim has been selling homes since 2004. She's a Farmington High School graduate and very active in the community. Whether you're buying or selling, she's there to help you through every step of the process. Check out Kim's latest listings at kimhudsonhomes.com or call 760-9789. That's 760-9789. Or email Kim Hudson at kim@coldwellbankerholsey.com. Hey kids, let's go to the Catfish Kettle. Everyone's favorite is the Catfish Kettle. It's been a landmark in Farmington for almost 40 years. Get the famous all-you-can-eat catfish, chicken, shrimp, and homemade sides served family style for lunch or dinner. Or enjoy tilapia, crab cakes, fish tacos, frog legs, or even gator tail. All ready for you for lunch or dinner at the Catfish Kettle. Located at Karsh and Maple Valley at the entrance to Farmington. See the full menu at catfishkettlerestaurant.com.
Hey, it's Mark Toady here, and you know there's no better place to watch the big game than Spokes Pub and Grill in Farmington. Chris and Dina Spence invite you out to enjoy the great menu and the fun atmosphere that Spokes always provides. For me, I love the burgers. The catfish sandwich is amazing. The pork chops are awesome. They have huge salads, and you should always leave room for dessert when you go to Spokes. Check out their Facebook page to see when your favorite band is performing. And as always, for rolling good times, it's Spokes Pub and Grill right off Highway 67 in Farmington. Matt Stroud Excavating and Hauling has the equipment and know-how to get that job done right. They dig basements, ponds, lakes, roads, and clearings and haul in the rock. Check out Matt Stroud Excavating and Hauling's commercial work at Domino's in Farmington and Fredericktown and Leadbelt Motorsports. Call Matt Stroud Excavating and Hauling today at 701-3258. That's 701-3258.
The Department of Mental Health for the state of Missouri is seeking an advanced practice nurse to fill a position on their East-Southeast Regional Forensics mobile team. This position includes daytime travel, a flexible work schedule with remote work options available, at a salary of $130,000 annually and tremendous benefits. This opening will not last long. To apply for the advanced practice nurse position or any other with the Department of Mental Health, please call 573-218-6800 or go to dmh.mo.gov. The state of Missouri is an equal opportunity employer. We celebrate diversity and are committed to creating an inclusive environment for all employees.
Ready to roll up your sleeves and dive into a hands-on career? Mineral Area College is ready for you. Their Mac Tech industry and technology programs are all about getting to work and making things happen. Whether you thrive on fixing, building, or just plain problem solving, they've got a pathway for you. Welding, HVAC, auto tech, construction, and more. You'll gain the practical skills and real-world experience needed to thrive in today's job market. Take the first step to a fulfilling career in a Mac Tech program. Apply today at mineralarea.edu.
All Festus in week number 8, 34-0. They rout the Farmington Knights along with Jake Whitener. I'm Greg Allen. Mike Reeves downfield level. We'll hear from Eric Krupe coming up in just a few. It was from the get-go that it did not start well for the Farmington Knights. Opening 3 drives for the Tigers, 3 straight scoring drives. Essien Smith, a 3-yard touchdown run, capping off an 8-play drive that put them up 7-0. Then it was Smith through the air twice to Aiden Clifton, his first 2 touchdown catches of the year. First one from 31 yards out, capping a 5-play drive, put them up 13-0 after the point after was no good, and then Clifton was wide open on a pass over the middle that went for 51 and a score to make it 20-0, and then Leonte Williams in the second half, he scored a 1-yard touchdown run in the opening possession, and he capped basically the game with a 22-yard touchdown run, and it was 34-0 when it was all said and done, as the Festus Tigers do it to the Farmington Knights tonight. Leonte Williams on the ground now with 7 rushing touchdowns on the season. Farmington falls to 4-4. Festus improves to 7-1. Knights to Park Hills next Friday. That'll be the broadcast game on Parkland Sports Live. Chad Speaker will have the call for you, and Festus is going to Jackson to wrap up their regular season as they sit 7-1. Jackson right now coming in, Festus rather coming in tonight, was the number 1 seed in the district. Farmington was sitting in the 4 spot in a district that was led by Cardinal Ritter. Cardinal Ritter had 52 and change points. Farmington had 32, almost 33 points in the district standings. So 34-0 is where it finishes. Not nearly the kind of day Farmington wanted to have in this one. And we'll hear from 12th-year head coach Eric Krupe momentarily as he falls to 70-62 since he has come on here as the lead man following Todd Vaughn in Farmington. And then it's off to week number 9. Despite everything that went wrong, still a fun time of year to be wrapping up the regular season in games that don't send you home for finality.
Well, and you get to end with the Farmington Central rivalry that's been going on for, over a decade again, got reinserted into the schedule, which, each team this year, like right now, they're both banged up. Dexter's kind of handling, at last we heard, was handling Park Hills a little bit. But at the same point, it's a game that maybe you can build some morals on after a game like this, kind of get a little motivation moving into districts.
Mike Reeves has gotten a lot of TV time and doesn't even know it. Now he'll get some actual talking time. Eric Krupe nears him after the 34-0 defeat. And our man on the sideline will catch up with the head coach of the Farmington Knights that wrap up the home portion of their schedule tonight with that loss to Festus. Michael?
Greg, thank you very much, sir. And generally, what do coaches take out of nights like that? Scoreboard says it wasn't a very good night. You take what from it, though?
Well, I like how our kids fought. I really do. After the first quarter, which things went rolling bad, we had a couple turnovers, the onside kick. After that first quarter, I'm really proud of how our kids played. I really am. That Festus team is a really good football team. I mean, they played DeSmet even for 2.5 quarters. That's the best defense we're going to see all season. It just is, no matter who we play. And and I told Coach Afadale that. That's a hell of a defense. number one thing is our kids did fight. They played to the very end, and I'm proud of them for that. And, we came in this game, we were missing some people. We also had a couple people play that weren't 100% either. And so, number one, get out of it as healthy as we were coming in, because if we did that, then we continue to get healthy over the course of next week, and then that springs us forward into the rivalry game next Friday.
From an opposing coach perspective, you said it would be the best defense you'll see. What makes them that? We see a lot of things that we believe make them tough. I love their athleticism along the line. They're quick. They get to the ball. Are all these the things you're seeing as an opposing coach too?
Yeah, I think their scheme's good, and they've got the personnel. They've got the personnel. They just do. I could single out one guy, or I could single out seven. They've got some dudes, and they do it well.
I want to ask you about this because at field level I get to see stuff that you don't always get to see. It's kind of a neat job to have. But when you force the fumble late, the scoreboard's out of control. I watched your reaction. I watched your coach's reaction. I saw the intensity. Is what brings that in a game that you say, well, the scoreboard doesn't matter, but what are you seeing from your kids at that moment that you're so excited about? Because it was obvious, and it was you and your entire coaching staff.
Well, just, we talked to the kids, as the game got later and later, you look at the scoreboard and the chances of victory do start to shrink. And so we just talk to kids, every drive is a victory. Every series is a victory. We get off the field this series, that's a victory. We get off the field the next series, that's a victory. Are we still playing hard? Are we still fighting? And the kids were doing that. They were back against the wall, but they're fighting. They're finding a way to get themselves off the field. They're still playing hard. And if we can do those things, those are positives.
What is generally an approach to week 9 in a season that you're going to get a district game? The seedings will be what they'll be. It's a rivalry game, if you will. So is that what you take out of it?
Mike, I'm just going to tell you right now, it's Park Hill, and it means everything. And I'm just going to tell you that right now.
What have you seen from them so far this year? I know you guys have at least taken a peek ahead.
Well, they've got the Jones kid. He's good on both sides of the football. And they lose some of those explosive playmakers that they had last year, but they've still got good football players, and they're very well coached. And it's a rivalry game. You could play this week 1, week 5, week 9. It doesn't matter.
See you again in a week.
Yep, sounds good.
Guys, we'll send it back up to you as head coach of the Farmington Knights. That's Eric Kirby.
All right, partner, thank you so much. Boy, that had all the shades of kind of Army-Navy, didn't it? It means everything. You can go into that game winless, but if we win that one, it's a successful season. That's what they used to say in the academies. It's not to that degree, but that answer mimicked that sort of feel.
It's had that feel since, Central wanted back against Farmington about 10, 12 years ago. Corey wanted back in because he had the Harlow, he had Bridges, he had a team that was a top tier. He's coming into, that decade of almost untouched potential that they had. And from that moment on, it became a heated rivalry. Even when Todd Vaughn was here, we played. There were a couple games that went back and forth with Coach Schweiss and Coach Krupe that came down to one or two plays that dictate the outcome. So, yeah, you have that set up for Week 9 showdown.
Our coverage tonight brought to you by Matt Stroud Excavating. Call 756-2808. Ryan Blankenship Insurance Agency. RBIBrokerage.com. Spokes Pub and Grill for rolling good times just up the road in Farmington. Kim Hudson Realty. KimHudsonHomes.com. The Catfish Kettle, world famous, all you can eat right here in Farmington. BetterHelp.com/The Barn. You can check them out. And Nuvo Athletic Representative Tia Cunningham. Last week of high school football, I'll be with the Parkland Sports Live, so it's been a blast to do it all season with you. You get Chad at the helm next week at Park Hills, but been a lot of fun. I've had a good time being back in the mix, and it's good to hang out with you.
It's fun. It's fun to get to do this with you guys.
I do this with that guy all the time. I don't need to thank him, but it's been fun with you.
Well, I appreciate it.
All right, for Mike Reeves down to the side, that's Jake Whitener, Greg Allen saying so long from Ham Memorial Stadium, where the Knights wrap up the home portion of the schedule. It does not go their way tonight, as Festus has made it 3 straight wins head-to-head over the Farmington Knights to go to 7-1 overall. Knights are 4-4.